He became a sword saint, only to realize he maxed out the wrong class. Bleeding out from a fatal ambush, his killers drop a nightmare reveal. His true talent was actually magic. But instead of dying, he wakes up 14 years in the past, as a weak teenager and strictly banned from casting spells. The rule is simple: pick sword or magic. Mix them, and your body explodes. So he completely glitches the system. Using a broken exploit from his past life, he throws away his sword and enters the Magic Academy. The elite rich kids think he's a total joke. Little they know he is cooking. A massive red dragon drops from the sky, setting the whole city on fire. Everyone scrambles in a blind panic, because there is absolutely nowhere to hide from its wrath. This giant beast is so huge that fighting back is useless. Still, a lonely mage charges up his magic for one last stand. He throws up a massive magic shield to stop it, but the dragon just smashes right through it like glass. Up close, this thing is pure nightmare fuel. The soldiers know they are totally doomed. It swoops down, leveling buildings with its tail. One brave knight actually tries to fight back. His sword just shatters on its scales. He realizes human courage means nothing here. Suddenly, a golden flash smacks the dragon hard. A massive explosion of light silences the whole battlefield. Everyone squints through the dust, totally confused. A lone warrior steps out, looking completely chill. He leaps up with crazy speed, drawing his blade. He shoots toward the beast like a literal comet. The dragon tries to roast him, but it's too late. Our guy shows zero fear, just cold precision. With one clean slash, he chops its head right off. The survivors just stare in absolute stunned silence. He stands there looking like a perfect stone statue, but he looks super sad, not happy at all. The soldiers rush over, cheering for their savior. He gives a fake smile, clearly used to this. He just walks away, avoiding the growing crowd. He spots a terrified little girl crying in the ruins. His stern face softens as his hand starts to glow. You can see magic is his actual true passion. Everyone sees a weapon, but he just wants to learn spells. The magic spark makes the little girl smile again. Then he just vanishes into the shadows. Cut to a snowy, super secluded mountain training ground. He's out there sweating, swinging a heavy wooden sword. His daily practice literally left a massive crater. Two students watch him, totally intimidated by his power. One kid whispers in total pride to learn from a legend. The other gasps as he literally cuts the wind itself. Seeing that giant crater, they realize he is a literal force of nature. The kid nervously holds an imperial summons, terrified to interrupt him. The boy runs up, hyped about an urgent message. Oscar reads it with a totally blank face. He sighs, treating the royal summons like a chore. The kid laughs, bragging about his master's fame. Oscar just looks tired of all the unwanted attention. The student is just glowing with pure admiration. Oscar admits he doesn't even like swordsmanship. He only did it because his strict dad forced him. The kid is totally stunned by this confession. Oscar smiles bitterly about living someone else's dream. He looks back, hiding a deep sadness for his lost life. The poor kid doesn't even know what to say. He explains how both magic and swords use energy circuits, but mana and sword aura totally clash with each other. The student looks super bummed about this harsh reality. Oscar pats his shoulder, telling him to stay focused. He smiles, saying being a swordsman is still noble. The kid instantly brightens up, totally inspired again. Later, Oscar lies awake, staring at the ceiling. He's still dreaming about the magic he can never learn. Suddenly, he gets a creepy premonition of his student in danger. A glowing hand reaches out in the dark. He sits up, sensing a weird mana disturbance nearby. His eyes snap wide as he senses killer intent outside. A massive explosion completely levels his little cabin. Shady mages watch it burn, here to kill him. Their leader steps up, acting like the job is done. His creepy followers wait behind him like total pros. Suddenly, Oscar bursts through the flames, totally fine. He lunges at them with his glowing sword. But the mages stand their ground, totally prepared for this. They chant and summon huge magic circles to trap him. Oscar braces himself against the massive magical shockwave. He spins into a lethal whirlwind, shattering their barrier. His blade clashes hard against their magic shield. He's pushing himself to the absolute limit to protect everyone. But the leader has his student tied up as a hostage. The poor kid is crying in total terror. Oscar stops immediately, lowering his sword for his student. The leader knows he has him totally trapped by compassion. Oscar looks furious but completely desperate. The evil leader grins, savoring his twisted victory. He reveals creepy red eyes, clutching a weird pendant. Oscar stares back, bloody but still totally defiant. The leader summons a massive storm of deadly ice spikes. Oscar just looks at his student, ignoring the incoming attack. The kid screams as his master is buried in magic. Oscar's gaze stays perfectly steady as the ice hits. The leader calls down even more frozen arrows. Oscar just gives them a fierce, bloody grin. He actually keeps walking forward through the deadly storm. Four massive ice pillars converge to finish him off. The leader watches the final strike hit, feeling totally victorious. He smirks, proud to be the one who killed a legend. Oscar collapses, completely broken and bleeding out. He barely gets to his knees. Looking absolutely gruesome, the Majors just watches his student runs to him crying. A weird blue glow starts rising from Oscar's body. The kid clutches him, trying to hold him together. Oscar actually smiles, finally feeling a sense of relief. The boy just sobs, completely devastated by the loss. He frantically tries to stop the bleeding, begging him to stay. The kid lets out a totally soul-shattering cry. Oscar tries to speak, but he's already too weak. His eyes drift shut, and the legend officially ends. His bloody hand reaches up to the moon one last time. His hand falls limp. He's really gone. A glowing trail of light floats up into the sky. Suddenly, we cut to a super bright, sunny forest. A teenage boy stands there, staring at his hands in disbelief. It's a younger Oscar. He just got a second chance. Oscar wakes up under a tree, in a very familiar place. He recognizes the peaceful town as his childhood home, Eisen Village. The memory of his brutal death feels like it just happened. He spots a plain white envelope lying on the grass nearby. He can hardly believe he is actually back in the past. These are invitations to the two great academies for 15-year-olds. One letter offers a prestigious spot at the Academy for Swordsmen. The other invitation is for the Magic Academy he truly wants. He stares at the wooden sword he used to hate swinging. The reality of his second chance finally begins to sink in. He is 14 again, right before his life turned into tragedy. A shadow falls over him as someone approaches from the trees. The father stands there looking very stern and quite disappointed. Oscar calls out in surprise when he sees his father is alive. Seeing his father alive is a shock after so many years. The old man starts lecturing him about being lazy with training. Oscar listens quietly while thinking about his secret love for magic. He remembers how hard it was to hide his true passion. His father was a famous sword master with many young students. As the son, Oscar had to spend every day practicing swordplay. One day, a young Oscar excitedly told his father about magic. He thought the sparkling spells were the most beautiful thing ever. The father yells that magic is only for weak people. The harsh words leave the young boy feeling quiet and afraid. He spent years swinging a sword just to please his father. Now he stands here as all those old memories return again. He refuses to die a miserable death like he did before. This time he will choose his own path instead of following. The father asks why he is standing around doing nothing. Oscar decides he has used the sword enough for one lifetime. The old man watches his son with a very surprised look. He stands surrounded by a powerful aura of golden blades. The other disciples are stunned by the sheer force. They're all gasping for air. Oscar stands perfectly still while his wooden sword points down. A student wonders how Oscar can be so calm right now. Our boy looks like a master who has fought 1,000 battles. His father just watches the boy with a quiet look. The father admits that Oscar has clearly been training very hard. He places a heavy hand on his son's shoulder. Chanqua Oscar promises to let him lead the family guild someday. The other students whisper about how Oscar is now the favorite. Chanqua Oscar smiles with pride after seeing his son's surprising skill. Oscar looks at his father with a quiet and serious expression. The father gives his son a firm pat on the back. Then the other students approach with fake smiles and mocking words. The spiky-haired student offers to give Oscar another lesson in swordplay. Oscar remembers these are the same guys who used to bully him. These students were always his father's first choice for sparring practice. Back then, they used every match as an excuse to hurt him. Once they unlocked their sword aura, they became even more arrogant. They took out all their frustrations on the boy during their training. Now the bully stands ready for another one-sided match in the sun. He demands that Oscar get into a fighting stance right this second. Oscar knows that simple sword skill cannot beat the power of aura. Instead of fighting, he turns away and walks toward the river. He whispers a final thank you to his old wooden sword. The spiky-haired student watches him walk away with a confused look. Oscar throws his weapon high into the air and into the water. The wooden sword sinks deep into the bottom of the river. The crab laughs and calls him a coward for giving up. The angry bully charges forward to strike him from behind. Oscar ignores the noise and keeps walking toward a different future. He turns back with a smile and says he'll become a mage. Marcus charges at our boy like he's in an action movie, swinging way too hard. But Oscar just stands there looking bored, probably deciding what he wants to eat for dinner. He's doing the absolute most, throwing out after images like he's trying to win a dance-off. Meanwhile, our boy effortlessly dodges every single swing with total, disrespectful grace. He looks totally unfazed, probably wondering if he left the stove on back home. Meanwhile, Marcus is totally losing it, turning bright red like he's about to throw a tantrum. Our boy barely breaks a sweat, dodging every single strike with pure, disrespectful grace. Then he gives the guy a look that basically asks if that's all he's got. The angry brother completely loses his mind, his face turning red like a ticking time bomb. The brother goes for another wild swing, but Oscar just glides past him like expensive cologne. Our boy gives him a deadpan look that asks if that's really all he's got. So the hothead lets out a super dramatic battle cry and goes for a massive overhead swing. But playtime is officially over, and our boy lunges forward to end this man's career. Like a total pro, he gets inside his brother's guard and handles him like paper. Then he dumps the hothead in the dirt, hurting his ego way more than his backside. Now the guy's just sitting in the dust, questioning every single life choice he ever made. Left alone under the big blue sky, our boy takes a moment to finally get some peace. Our boy lectures him about wasting his reach, looking like a disappointed teacher despite being younger. He gives that determined protagonist air, clearly planning something big to shake things up. Then he heads into the woods to find a spot to be cool, without an audience. Wiping his sweat, he finally feels the rush of showing off so hard to everyone. He finds a massive, comfy rock and claims it as the perfect throne for afternoon meditation. Drifting to his past life, he remembers being much taller and chilling with a stylish mage. Back then, he was a literal sword saint, looking brooding and handsome in a fur cape. The lady who taught him the ropes looks ready to drop some serious ancient wisdom. Tending her garden, she showed him magic isn't just for blowing stuff up, it makes things grow. She explained mana is like water flowing everywhere, and you just have to catch it. Adult Oscar actually paid attention, probably because she was the only one handling his massive ego. She showed him swirling energy, turning a simple glass of water into a glowing masterpiece. Our queen looked so peaceful, radiating total secrets of the universe, energy while doing chores. Back in the present, he settles on his rock to see if he can do magic. Taking a deep breath, he clears his head to focus on the invisible world around him. Sitting alone in the woods, he looks like a literal statue waiting for something to happen. He shuts his eyes tight, blocking the sun to search for that hidden magical spark. A true swordsman doesn't just use his eyes, he uses every single sense to survive. Remembering the duel, he realizes his body naturally tracked every movement through pure instinct. Now, he turns that intense focus inward, trying to hear the forest's actual heartbeat. Slowly, the world starts shifting, glowing with a soft, ethereal light he's never seen before. Everything around him, the birds, the fish, the air, suddenly sparkles with beautiful mana bubbles. His eyes snap open, looking like he just discovered a whole new dimension of cool. Mana is literally everywhere, swirling around him in gorgeous, glowing ribbons of pure energy. Our boy looks totally floored, sweating with pure joy because he finally saw real magic. He is totally feeling himself, grinning like a kid at Christmas over his mana breakthrough. Practically vibrating with excitement, he's ready to take on the world in the magic club. But then he notices the mana shimmering like a matrix glitch he definitely didn't cause. He drops into a defensive crouch real quick because his danger senses are totally tingling. The woods feel way too quiet, and he's looking around for a horror movie jump scare. The birds stop chirping and the air goes cold, never a great sign for a peaceful afternoon. Scanning the tree line, he senses a presence heavy enough to make the ground hold its breath. A massive rock flies at him, forcing a backflip that would make an Olympic gymnast jealous. He lands just in time to see a literal stone giant looming like an angry landlord. The golem stands tall, looking like it's about to turn our boy into a stylish pancake. Stunned, he stares at the massive construct, wondering why his first day includes a boss fight. Looking up as a shadow passes, he realizes the stone giant isn't the only party guest. Someone flies down from the trees with the grace of a falling star, heading for the golem. A slender hand reaches out as she lands, ready to give him an intense keep-out lecture. The golem's eyes flare ominous red, making it clear this pile of rocks has a short fuse. He just kneels there, his brain racing to decide whether to fight, run, or ask for an autograph. Then she appears, a stunning red-haired mage, looking fresh off a high-fashion runway and onto the battlefield. Stories about this girl are everywhere. She is basically a living legend in the north. She could control golems that crushed 1,000 soldiers, proving she was totally that girl. Meet Isabelle, the ultimate girl boss of the magic world, and creator of life itself. Meanwhile, our boy effortlessly dodges every single swing with total, disrespectful grace. Isabelle isn't exactly throwing him a welcome party, demanding to know who sent him to spy. She threatens him, promising to make things very uncomfortable if he doesn't start talking. A huge magic circle glows under him. The tension is high enough to snap a guitar string. The queen just sits there looking bored, waiting for him to spill all his secrets. Our boy pleads for his life, pointing out he didn't even fight back when caught. She isn't buying it, To her, he sounds like just another spy playing the victim. She is ready to say a final goodbye to the nameless mage who bothered her. Our hero is literally sweating bullets, totally convinced this is how his story ends. In a desperate last-ditch effort, he screams that he isn't even a mage yet. That actually gets her attention. She pauses the execution to figure out what is going on. She thinks it is a pathetic excuse, but she is curious enough to double-check. She places a hand on his head to do a quick mana vibe check. Her eyes widen as she digs deep into his internal circuits to see what he's hiding. Total silence. Turns out he told the truth. There is 0 mana flowing through him. Cut to them having tea together. Talk about a super quick 180 on the vibes. She casually refuses to apologize for almost blowing him up. Typical queen behavior. She vents about her new professor job, where everyone already treats her like the bad guy. His eyes go wide. He can't believe she actually works at the Magic Academy. She admits she only took the gig to fund her research. Girls got to get paid. This is the exact moment he realizes he has a chance to learn from the best. He stares at her with intense eyes, trying to show he is ready for a glow-up. The professor just keeps sipping her tea, totally unbothered by his dramatic gaze. He drops her name with that super serious main character energy. He asks the big question, will she teach him how to take a mana? The answer is a hard no. She is not interested in weak, incompetent men. Ouch. She tells him to finish his drink and go home. The rejection is painful to watch. Our boy has a literal internal crisis. He can't just walk away defeated. He looks at her, desperate to prove he's not as weak as she thinks. The creator asks her helper golem for another quick refill of tea, but he notices something. His instincts scream that the golem is about to malfunction. He clearly sees the mana flowing through the golem flickering and getting clogged up. He tries to warn her, but she thinks he's just saying weird things for attention. The machine starts twitching, and you can practically hear the mechanical failure coming. Splat. It dumps the entire pot of boiling tea right on a girl's head. He jumps up and shouts her name, completely shocked that the machine went rogue. He rushes over with a cloth, asking if she's okay while she sits in shock. He points right at the golem's shoulder, explaining exactly where the circuit is clogged. She looks up, drenched and stunned. How did the sweet kid solve an invisible problem? The queen grabs him so fast it's a total miracle his arm didn't fly off. She completely loses it, demanding to know how he spotted an error she totally missed. He casually says the mana flow looked weird, leaving her stunned. Can he see mana? Our hero remembers being told mana is invisible, but his eyes clearly see something different. He drops a casual yes, which is basically a magical mic drop in this situation. She finally gets it. No wonder her barrier was useless as a paper umbrella against him. She tries to figure out if this is elite instinct or just raw, terrifying talent. It reminds her of someone talking about a rare kind of talent few ever possess. Our boy just stands there looking handsome while she has a huge lightbulb moment. Our girl officially makes up her mind. She isn't letting this mystery walk away. Plot twist. She offers to be his teacher and show him how to handle mana. He is low-key confused because she literally called him a weak loser minutes ago. But apparently he caught her interest. She reaches out a hand like a royal invite. Our boy flashes a winning smile, realizing his plan to get a gorgeous tutor worked. They seal the deal with a handshake. Honestly, the chemistry is starting to crackle. Fast forward to class time, where the professor uses golems as living chalkboards. Iconic. She starts with the basics. Mana is already inside you, flowing like a silent river. The student is totally locked in, asking how he is supposed to steer that energy. She uses a tea analogy, explaining magic formulas are like cups holding the power. Our boy stares at the board like he is trying to solve universe secrets. She pulls out magic paper, the same starter gear they give freshmen at the academy. He looks like he just won the lottery, totally hyped to try some real magic. She tells him to focus his inner power and pour it straight into the formula. Our hero is ready to give it his all, looking like he'll ace it. Meanwhile, she thinks this will take him a month. Freshmen usually struggle hard with this. She watches him with sharp eyes, waiting to see if he is a real genius. She generously guesses maybe he can pull it off in a couple of weeks. The swordsman closes his eyes and blocks out everything else, turning his focus entirely inward. In reality, he treats it like forging sword aura, a little trick from his past life. He zeroes in on that inner spark, feeling energy starting to swirl around his fingertips. He touches the magic paper and boom, a sudden shock of mana lights up the room. It's not just a successful activation. It's a full-on magical fireworks show. Definitely not expected. Everything finally clicks for him. He realizes the mana has been waiting for him. A massive energy pillar erupts from our boy. She officially witnesses the birth of a legend. Oscar reflects deeply, comparing the sensation of using mana to taking his first steps with new legs. He realizes that you have to stumble and fall repeatedly before you can truly stand on your own. Isabel watches him intently, questioning whether he can actually pull this off. Normally, Only seasoned majors manage to grasp these concepts so quickly. Yet Oscar manages to set off a spectacular display of magic on his very first try. Isabel approaches him, completely bewildered by what she just witnessed. She is absolutely stunned. No one simply masters mana on their first attempt. She interrogates him about the broken golem, and he casually replies that something just felt wrong. She suspects he might have a unique affinity for seeing mana, though even that can't fully explain his talent. Regardless of his secret, his extraordinary ability is undeniable to everyone present. Isabel finally understands that Oscar is a true prodigy, looking at him in awe. Meanwhile, Oscar stands beneath the magical sparks, disappointed by the spell's lack of beauty. Isabel breaks into a huge smile, cheering for him enthusiastically. She claps him on the back, incredibly excited to witness such unprecedented talent. However, Oscar remains unimpressed, casually noting that the spell falls short of his expectations. With a serious expression, he states that the magic simply isn't beautiful enough. He reminisces about a time when magic felt truly special and full of wonder. In those days, watching the magical sparks fly brought a genuine, joyful smile to his face. Now, he tells Isabel with a hint of disappointment that the current spell lacks that same soul. He crouches down, casually pointing out a specific flaw in the magic formula. He explains that the mana flow feels clunky and unnatural, much like the broken golem. Isabel is left speechless as he casually asks for her professional take on his critique. Clenching his fist, he resolves that he won't settle for just playing around with basic magic. He declares his ambition to master the most flawless and breathtaking magic the world has ever seen. After a moment of stunned silence, Isabel suggests he should just rewrite the formula himself. He suddenly leans in close, his intense eagerness making her slightly flustered. He desperately asks how to write a formula, showing an insatiable thirst for knowledge. Meanwhile, back at the mansion, a commanding figure makes a dramatic entrance. It's Oscar's father, looking incredibly stern and intimidating. The trainees Oscar defeated earlier are slumped by a well, baffled by his sudden combat skills. The Duke looms over them, demanding to know how his elite squad was beaten. Sweating and stuttering, they try to play off their injuries as a simple accident. The Duke isn't fooled for a second, giving them a glare that demands the truth. They finally confess, admitting that Oscar effortlessly wiped the floor with them. One trainee recounts the humiliating defeat, while the Duke listens with a stone-cold expression. The Duke processes this information, realizing his son is far stronger than he thought. He struggles to believe that his supposedly weak son defeated his best trainees single-handedly. He orders them to heal up so they can resume their training tomorrow. The terrified trainees quickly excuse themselves, leaving the Duke alone with his thoughts. Looking out at the courtyard, he decides it's time for the next phase of his plan. A chilling smirk crosses his face as he plans to bestow the family's legendary sword aura upon Oscar. Back in Isabel's library, Oscar is surrounded by a mountain of books he quickly devoured. Oscar realizes the deep complexity of magic formulas, while Isabel enjoys the scholarly discussion. She offers to lend him her personal collection of books, and Oscar is thrilled at the prospect. Generously, she tells him to take as many as he wants, having already memorized them herself. However, she suddenly stops him just as he's about to leave with his new treasures. Oscar has practically emptied the shelves, balancing a huge stack of books while Isabel stares in shock. She asks if he's taking the entire library, and he simply reminds her that she said as many as he liked. Isabel's demeanor suddenly turns serious, her eyes widening with intense focus. She tells him that before he goes, there is a crucial reality check he needs to hear. She explains that he is currently a mage, with mana deeply rooted within his energy circuits. She gives him a dire warning. He must be incredibly careful regarding his family's sword aura. Meanwhile, his father is already plotting to force the skiff of power upon him. Isabel drops a bombshell. If he attempts to wield both mana and sword aura simultaneously, it will kill him. Oscar finally rolls back into Eisen Village, just as the sun goes down. He looks super cool in the sunset, but his brain is definitely somewhere else. Flashback time. We see his dad looking super weak and sick in bed. Oscar plays the perfect, loving son in this sad little memory. His dad reaches out, getting ready to drop some serious wisdom on him. He actually tells Oscar he's super talented, but it still feels pretty sad. He still thinks making Oscar quit magic was a genius idea. Big yikes. Oscar just stays quiet, letting those heavy words sink right in. The sick dad fades into a ghost of his former awesome self, back to reality. Oscar is holding his magic school invite like a golden ticket. He stands at the giant gates, ready to face his dad and win. Oscar is totally focused. He isn't leaving without that signature on his letter. Inside, his dad is staring at the fire like a grumpy fantasy book cover. He doesn't even look back, just coldly asks why Oscar is bothering him. Oscar gets straight to the point and asks him to sign the magic invite. They stand in the giant room, feeling like they're miles apart from each other. The Swordmaster is totally shocked, wondering where this crazy idea even came from. He reads the letter, but you can tell he absolutely hates it. Oscar smiles, hoping this whole thing might be way easier than he thought. But his dad just facepalms, wondering why anyone would pick magic over swords. Oscar says he's always wanted this, but his dad is totally ignoring him. His dad just crosses his arms, totally ready to crush Oscar's dreams. He calls it a silly kid's dream. What a massive buzzkill. He starts pushing the sword stuff again, acting like he knows best. He taps Oscar's chest, but it feels way more like a mean insult. Oscar finally snaps and blasts blue magic everywhere, lighting up the room. His dad is super shocked that Oscar learned magic without him knowing. Oscar just stands there looking awesome, letting his magic do all the talking. He calmly says showing off was the only way to convince his stubborn dad. His dad gets really salty, asking what Oscar is even trying to prove. He brings up Oscar beating his brothers, making him even madder about the magic. Oscar is just like, yeah, I know, totally ignoring his dad's weird phrase. His dad yells that being a swordsman is the only way to win. You can tell from Oscar's face he's heard this boring speech forever. Oscar thinks winning isn't everything, remembering when things used to be simple. The room is so tense you could slice it with a giant sword. His dad facepalms again, realizing Oscar is way more stubborn than him. He decides to fix things himself, and creepy purple energy swirls around him. Oscar's eyes go wide. He knows things are about to get really messy. His dad asks if he forgot what happens when two powers fight inside you. He turns around, threatening to literally beat some sense into his son. He pulls out his sword, and it is officially time for a family fight. Oscar just stares, realizing his dad's perfect future is a total joke. He imagines a peaceful death versus a bloody future, but a wild reality check. Oscar shakes it off and glares at his dad. He's done playing nice. His dad throws him a sword, thinking practice will fix his magic problem. He acts super nice, saying he'll wait for Oscar to outgrow this magic phase. Oscar takes a deep breath, opens his eyes, and looks totally determined. He makes it super clear. He's a wizard, and swords won't change that. He holds up his sword school letter, the whole reason he came home. In a total boss move, he throws the letter into the fire. Then he summons his magic wand and dares his dad to fight him. Brian tells him to give it his best shot, acting like a total final boss. He lunges with extra purple energy, warning the kid not to get cocky. The old man is super confused why his flashy move didn't instantly win. Oscar's inner thoughts are pure main character energy. He reads his dad like a book. A quick flashback shows the dad already trying to make his son a sword machine. His eye reflect the incoming attack in perfect slow motion. Brian swings hard, but Oscar slides away like he's just playing tag. He admits he actually modeled himself after his dad. Talk about complicated. The old man finally admits the kid isn't just all talk. Brian is totally shook that his son dodges everything without using any energy buffs. He finally admits what Oscar always knew. His sword talent is the real deal. Then he ruins it by demanding a surrender, glowing purple again. He's still pushing that reforge nonsense, acting like he's the only fix. Our boy just smirks, asking if the great warrior is already begging to win. That hits a nerve, and Brian calls him a fool for disagreeing. Oscar stays cool, knowing talent is the only thing his dad cares about. He reaches into his pocket, saying there are things he won't give up on either. Brian pauses, totally confused by the tiny item. It's definitely not a sword. It's a magic staff, though it looks like a fancy feather pen. He recalls Isabel saying magic needs huge brains, not just a flashy temper. Queen Isabel looks super happy explaining the universe's secrets to him. Oscar smirks, knowing what's next, while his dad still thinks he's boss. He bets the old man can't predict a move without a sword. Brian doesn't wait for magic tricks and lunges in for the final strike. Oscar's eyes lock in, seeing every weak spot in his dad's stance. He sees the attack pads 3 steps ahead of the armed guy. Smiling Medul? Legendary. Our boy is having a total blast out here. He points the quill wand to Brian, ready to drop some magic facts. The sword drops fast, but Oscar doesn't sweat. He's got perfect timing. He's focused, ready to show his dad real power isn't just swinging metal. He blasts magic in Brian's face. Definitely not a family sword move. This is it, his first magic, and it's going to be a huge problem. Young Oscar loves these sparks, and now he's using them to win a family feud. It's the spark spell he always wanted, turning the room into a disco party. A memory of his mom flickers, like an angel watching them choose his path. Boom! A blinding flash erupts, catching the old man totally off guard. Brian clutches his face, probably wondering if his eyeballs are sweating from the light. He yells about being blinded, while Oscar zips behind him like a ghost. The old man is totally lost, swinging at air while our boy gets close. One quick strike later, and the sword goes flying toward the moon. The blade lands with a thud, stuck in the floor like a tombstone for Zigo. His reflection shows pure shock. It's official. Magic wins this family meeting. Oscar says he only won because Brian was good enough to fall for the bait. Ouch. Brian finally realizes the magic show was just a distraction to disarm him. Our boy adds salt to the wound, saying he learned to be sneaky from his dad. The old man admits he vouched for his sword skills, but magic is a huge gamble. They stand in the quiet room, the tension finally draining after the explosive fight. Oscar drops a truth bomb. Did anyone give Brian a guarantee when he started? Nope. Brian looks totally shocked. He's being out-argued by his son with zero comebacks. His eyes are basically sweating as the reality of Oscar's words sinks in. Flashback to a sweeter time. Brian bragging his unborn son would be a sword prodigy. His mom laughs and shuts him down, saying he only chose swords to look cool. She's the real boss, insisting their little boy should decide his own destiny. Back in the present, the tough guy act tracks. He really saw a sword saint in Oscar. The old man walks away, finally looking ready to let go of his son's life. Oscar calls after him, a little surprised the fight is ending without more yelling. Brian picks up the messy admission form that started this whole family drama. Our boy freezes, unsure if he's getting yelled at or if his dad is giving in. Brian hands it back with a smirk, joking he can't sign with that broken pen wand. Just like that, we shift to the massive Magic Academy for the real drama. Inside, professors gossip over files. This year's freshmen are total super talented overachievers. The examiner lists big names, including an imperial princess. Talk about a high-stakes class. Another teacher is hyped about a kid mastering hereditary magic. These kids need to chill. Then there's Balsamis, lurking in the shadows looking way too happy. Someone check on him. Someone notices his creepy vibe, but he's just enjoying the view of his next targets. He's obsessed with their saint-rank bloodlines, and that glowing necklace isn't just fashion. Finally, Oscar is in the library, totally unbothered and ready to be a stylish mage. Oscar's dad tries way too hard to act tough on moving day. Awkward vibes everywhere. 6 months of training flew by, mostly spent dodging beatdowns from his own dad. Oscar steps out looking fresh, agreeing the brutal 6-month training was basically a blur. His dad reminds him everyone else studied magic while he mastered the blade. Classic pep talk. Dad gets serious, basically saying, don't come back unless you're an over one. No quitting allowed. Oscar gives a confident smirk, telling his overly worried dad to just allow. He jokes that magic students are nothing compared to surviving his dad's terrifying training sessions. That actually cracks his dad's tough exterior, earning a rare, genuine smile before he leaves. It's time to go. Oscar waves goodbye, totally ready for his main character arc. Clutching his registration papers like a winning lottery ticket, the moment is finally getting real. Leaving his childhood home behind, Oscar heads toward a bright future with barely any luggage. He's off to the Magic Academy. Cue the upbeat theme music. He's ready to show off. Welcome to the overly fancy Imperial Kirk Magic Academy. It's majestic and literally glowing. Orientation is a circus of flashy spells and a literal known band. So, over the top, people zoom around on brooms while Oscar stands there looking like a total tourist. He's amazed by the magical wonderland, noting it has way more sparkles and less grunting. Total nerd Oscar gets distracted by a wandering construct trying to figure out its mechanics. A familiar voice snaps him back, warning him he'll be late for registration. It's Isabel, looking sharp. She smirks, hoping he hasn't been slacking off without her. Oscar is thrilled to see her, but quickly flexes his new skills, eager to show off. He promises more surprises. They were totally just friends. Energy is honestly almost adorable. Looking around, he wonders where the other freshmen went, totally missing the action memo. Isabel points out the Class 1 exams, where all the tryhards are proving their worth. She explains the magical tier list. Freshmen are usually split by their raw mana capacity. Then there's Class 1, the VIP club where all the actual prodigies go to play. The exam filters for top-tier talent, and Oscar is already glued to the magic circle. Isabel plays it safe, suggesting he skip the exam so he doesn't get totally wrecked. She warns him Class 1 is full of absolute monsters with insane, raw power. These kids swam in magic since birth. Oscar is a total underdog here. Instead of being scared, Oscar gets hyped. He's a total glutton for high-level punishment. Isabel sighs, realizing arguing with the stubborn idiot is a totally lost cause today. She tells him to go see the madness himself. Sometimes you just gotta witness chaos. Oscar heads to the testing grounds during a practical exam. The pressure is definitely real. A student fires water orbs. It's solid basic control, which is the bare minimum here. It hits the mark, but Oscar looks like he's watching a toddler with a hose. The student is thrilled. Oscar just watches like an unimpressed pro scout in the crowd. He quickly figures out the goal. Hit the target. Simple for a mana-reading pro. Suddenly, he feels a dozen hostile eyes on him. The vibe gets very unwelcoming. A silver-haired guy stops him. Radiating major, I'm better than you, noble energy. Meets Zizan. He immediately talks trash, telling commoner Oscar he doesn't belong here. Zizan tells him to leave, thinking his family name is a free pass. Unfazed, Oscar calmly reminds him the exam is open to everyone. He's staying put. Zizan scoffs, saying Oscar has a big mouth for someone who hasn't cast anything yet. Oscar remembers Isabel's warning. Class 1 is basically a daycare for absolute many monsters. He realizes the vibe is very you can't sit with us unless you're a noble. Drama queen Zizan shoves him aside, telling him to watch a real professional at work. The examiner finally steps in with her glowing staff to bring some order to the chaos. Zizan gives a smug smirk and heads to the test, fully convinced he'll impress everyone. He gives a speech about lifelong dedication to magic, determined to show off his experience. Zizan casts Great Glaciation, lighting up a massive magic circle. Definitely not going for subtle. The spell turns the place into a literal freezer, and the crowd absolutely loses it. Oscar watches the flashy display, looking more curious than intimidated while taking mental notes. The peanut gallery cheers for the ice spell, convinced they're witnessing a total masterclass. Zizan gives a nasty grin, convinced Oscar is a nobody who can't handle basic magic. Oscar actually admits the spell was impressive, recognizing the effort behind the flashy display. But then, he calmly tells Zizan the whole thing was a total waste of mana. Zizan's face does a 180. He's absolutely livid after his ego takes a massive hit. Oscar casually heads out, totally unfazed, while leaving a very angry noble fuming behind him. A flashback shows Oscar training hard. He knows real work and sees Zizan's flashy flaws. Holding his quill wand, Oscar smugly thanks Zizan for the confidence boost. He feels great now. Everyone is laughing at his beginner wand, totally sure he cannot aim with that toothpick. Our boy smiles smugly, completely cured of his worry after seeing that garbage spell. Zizan is riding a serious high, convinced his ice magic was absolutely flawless. His massive ice wall still stands like a giant monument to his own ego. Ice magic is his family's whole brand, and he thinks he's absolute perfection. Still, Oscar's wasteful comment is seriously getting under his skin and hurting his pride. Meanwhile, the glasses-wearing examiner is ready to move the test along. She's actually super impressed with this year's talent, setting the bar pretty high. She figures the ice guy is basically a lock for the top freshman spot. Then she looks at Oscar, just as confused as everyone else about his plan. Our boy is totally locked in, staring down the targets with crazy intense focus. The peanut gallery yells at him to give up, assuming he's just stalling. But the examiner realizes he isn't nervous at all. He's waiting for something specific. He's reading the moving targets like a pro, timing everything down to the millisecond. The targets zip around chaotically, designed to be totally impossible to hit all at once. Suddenly, he raises his wand pen, and the examiner senses some real, scary power. He fires a tiny, super concentrated fireball that looks sharp enough to cut a mountain. Just one shot. The fire beam perfectly lines up with all 5 moving targets. The stones drop with neat holes in them, making the ice wall look like child's play. The examiner's jaw drops. She's never seen a trick shot like that with a feather. Oscar casually walks away like he didn't just break physics, leaving the crowd totally stunned. The haters quickly start complaining that his spell wasn't flashy enough for the academy. He just shrugs, probably thinking about lunch. He's definitely not here for the applause. Zizan is having a total crisis, realizing that trick shot was way more efficient than his. He tries to act unimpressed, but his aristocratic pride is absolutely screaming right now. Oscar calmly asks the examiner if he failed, playing it almost frustratingly cool. She yells that hitting all 5 is a flawless pass, wanting to shake him. He looks surprised. He's used to crazy military standards, not this dramatic reaction. He asks why she's so worked up, genuinely confused by her vibrating disbelief. She demands to know why he risked everything on one shot instead of acting normal. She's practically begging him to say it was luck, because the truth is terrifying. Oscar admits the ice magic was flashy, but he has a totally different philosophy. We see that giant ice fortress again, which probably wasted months of mana. He bluntly says using that much mana on practice targets is a total waste. She repeats waste like it's a foreign word. Rich majors love grand displays. He points out that in real combat, if you blow your mana early, you're dead. To him, blowing all your magic on the first wave just makes you monster snacks. The examiner pauses, admits he makes sense, and looks at him with total awe. Our boy heads out with his unbothered king walk, leaving everyone totally humbled. The examiner replays the shot, realizing his crazy patience and perfect timing. He fired with insane control and 0 wasted energy. He's definitely not basic. She sees the shadow of a battle-hardened master. He's carrying an entire legend. After that mic drop, Oscar strolls through the academy like he just finished a light jog. Internally, he's fanboying over the instructor's spell, thrilled to meet a powerful mage today. He heads toward the cafeteria, walking peacefully like a guy who knows he's the main character. But then his instincts kick in, and his danger alarm rings loud and clear. He spins around, demanding to know who's creeping. He's totally back in warrior mode. A smug guy in a giant wizard hat steps out. Impressed Oscar noticed him stalking. The mystery man strolls closer with that relaxed, I could delete you kind of power. Meet Balsalmes, the literal headmaster, dressed in wizard couture with the crazy expensive stuff. Oscar immediately bows, but the headmaster just chuckles, admitting he's being a creep. But when Oscar looks up, his face shatters. He spots a glowing purple pendant. It triggers a terrifying memory of the red-eyed assassin. That star symbol screams danger. The headmaster just wants to be friendly, but the vibes just turned into psychological horror. His eyes practically pop out because that creepy star symbol definitely does not say welcome to school. That necklace belongs to the exact same killer who ended our boy's past life. The old guy says to greet him. Oscar reaches out, hands shaking like crazy. The second they touch, the vibe screams danger. The grandpa cracks a super creepy grin. Suddenly, a massive tornado erupts, turning the casual greeting into a literal natural disaster. Our boy gets tossed around like a total ragdoll. Talk about a warm welcome. The headmaster's shadow looms large. He's impressed, but he's definitely not letting up. The old guy literally walks on air, holding a staff that looks crazy powerful. He pulls out his feather pen, basically a toothpick here, and asks if it's an assassination. The boss just laughs, wondering if he seriously thinks a tiny feather can win this. He swings the staff, and the air screams. This guy is the Stormcaller for a reason. Wind barriers slam down, trapping our hero in a giant, swirling cage. He quickly realizes he's boxed in. Zero chance of running from a literal hurricane. But he won't just stand there. If he can escape, he'll hit the source. He slams a magic circle with his pen, glowing with pure leave-me-alone energy. Fire bullet pulsera. He aims straight for the old man's face, not the barrier. The headmaster actually flinches as the fireball zooms right past his head. His eyes go wide. He definitely didn't expect the kid to go for the throat. The bullet misses by an inch, but it proves he doesn't play by the rules. The old guy is impressed. Most kids would cry, but he went for the kill. The storm dies down with a knowing smile. Just a prank? Or a deadly test? Our boy stands in the wreckage, gasping like he ran a marathon in a wind tunnel. He's totally drained, dropping to one knee like he's about to pass out. The boss drops some cold truth. In a real fight, he'll be a memory. The old guy sits on thin air, while our hero demands to know why he's tested. He gets serious, saying guys like the bully think magic is a rich kid club. He listens, realizing being a talented commoner puts a massive target on his back. He connects the dots. Stand out too much, and someone will hammer you down. The headmaster confirms it. Some crazies can't stand a nobody having actual talent. Our hero stares off. Those words sound way too familiar to him. He flashes back to his red-eyed murderer, who had the exact same hater vibe. He tells the old guy he's heard that speech from the people who killed him. He practically begs the headmaster to tell him who those extremists actually are, but he gets shut down. Knowing their names just invites them to finish the job. For now, he's told to survive school bullies before fighting the secret Illuminati. He looks at his hand, realizing survival is now top of his to-do list. The old man stands there, a towering shadow of power he can't even touch yet. He realizes how lucky he is. If the boss wanted him dead, he'd be toast. The tension finally breaks, but our boy is still sweating bullets. His eyes drift back to that purple star pendant. It's the key to everything. He can't help himself and asks what the deal is with that jewelry. The boss holds it up, calling it the proof of a magic saint. Not just fashion. The magic saint title means peak power, just like his old sword saint rank. He realizes he's looking at his murder. It's like running into a lethal toxic X. The dramatic legend tosses him a coin, basically handing over a legendary quest item. He catches the shiny badge, totally baffled. Is it a VIP Wizard Club pass? The old guy warns him to keep it safe, then vanishes into a literal whirlwind. Left in the empty street, he watches the wind die. Welcome to the academy, I guess? He's floored by the headmaster's smooth manner. Whipping up tornadoes is a high-level flex. He stares at the badge, shaking off the awe. He has to focus on staying alive. In his past life, he thought studying magic was enough, blissfully unaware of the drama. Reality hit him hard. He flashes back to bleeding out after being betrayed. A magic saint helped take him out. He'll need more than a library card now. He clenches his fist. To survive, he needs a major training arc. Second place isn't an option. Cut to the lecture hall, where gossip is wild about the first commoner in top class. Students gossip about him acing the exam. Success really does bring out the salty haters. The noble bully sneers, thinking it's pathetic for a commoner to play pretend. The vibe shifts as a scream echoes from the hallway. Drama is arriving on schedule. Footsteps echo, and everyone goes dead silent. The tension is thick enough to cut. Our hero makes his grand entrance, totally unbothered by the judgmental nobles staring. The bully looks like he's seeing a ghost, his internal monologue screaming in confusion. He keeps strolling, ignoring the death glares. The class isn't ready for this main character energy. The master tells our boy to just focus on building up his own strength. He shrugs off those death glares, turning his main character energy all the way up. He's basically doing magic reps, pushing out mana to stretch his circuits like a morning workout. It's definitely working too. He can feel his magic flowing smoother, and his stamina leveling up. He takes a quick breather by the window, totally proud of his secret power-up. But raw power isn't enough. Now he's itching for some real combat to sharpen those skills. He snaps out of it, totally ready to face whatever this fancy academy throws his way. He ditches the robes for his official academy gear, complete with those super cool black gloves. Fully geared up, he heads out, totally pumped to become the absolute strongest version of himself. Walking into the giant hall, he feels all those judgmental eyes tracking his every single move, especially Azazan, who looks like he just saw a ghost and can't believe he's still here. Our hero doesn't even react, keeping that cool, stoic poker face totally locked down. The silver-haired snob is totally fuming, but everyone else is just buzzing with first-day energy. He spots his rival, but then notices something way more interesting happening over in the stands. He sees a girl with pigtails sitting alone, completely glued to her book. Right on cue, her floral bookmark makes a run for it, floating down below. His reflexes are crazy sharp, snatching that paper out of the air like legendary Luke. He leans over to Handy back, asking if she dropped the flowery little thing. It's Lily Lowell, and she is so thrilled, thanking him like he just saved her week. He gives her a rare, real smile, guessing she must really love flowers. She gets super shy, glowing with that "did a cute boy just talk to me?" vibe. He introduces himself and asks to sit nearby, which she is totally happy to agree to. He settles in, noticing a hall is finally packed with all the elite talent this year. Suddenly, a loud voice booms through the room, making everyone practically jump out of their skin. Everyone is craning their necks, desperately trying to find where that mystery voice is coming from. Then, a crazy whirlwind of papers dances through the air like a magical snow globe. Through the paper storm, Professor Ruth makes her grand entrance as the new class boss. He recognizes her from the entrance exams, and knows things are about to get super serious. She doesn't waste time, announcing that real monster combat classes start as early as next week. This field training is exactly what our boy wanted, and you can totally see his excitement. He clenches his fist under the table, barely able to contain how incredibly hyped he is. But there's a catch. They have to form parties of 5 to keep things totally balanced. The students are super confused, wondering if she means balancing out their raw magic power. The teacher explains it's about circuit performance, basically how much mana their bodies can actually hold. As Lily wonders how to measure that, the professor just flashes a sly, confident grin. Before anyone can even blink, a massive golden magic circle ignites right on the ceiling. Suddenly, glowing orbs pop up over everyone's heads like they just hit a massive level up. She explains that the brightness of the light directly shows off their total mana capacity. Of course, Zazan's orb shines like a searchlight, proving he's the total powerhouse he claims. Other students have decent glows too, proving that the competition is definitely going to be fierce. Then there's Levin, whose orb is practically blinding, and he looks absolutely smug about it. The professor stands the room, mentally high-fiving herself for having such a talented batch this year. But our boy just stares at its tiny, pathetic flickering light like it needs fresh batteries. The snob starts snickering, joking that a commoner will never get picked for a good team. He barely hears them, way too busy analyzing the magical theory behind the test itself. Suddenly, a polite little tap on his shoulder snaps him right back to reality. It's Lily, our sweet pigtail queen, asking if he wants to team up for a party. He's actually a bit surprised, asking if she really wants the guy everyone is laughing at. She figures anyone who appreciates a good floral bookmark must be a totally solid person. Then she remembers the social hierarchy and mentions they'll have to run it by 11 first. Our hero is just like, whoa, while she prepares to face the boss of school arrogance. Levin lounges back like he owns the place, completely offended they'd even suggest bringing a commoner. He steps up with a polite act, while Lily looks ready for a nervous breakdown. The red-haired snob gives him the once-over, wondering if he's even worth the effort of refusing. He sighs with his own supposed greatness, claiming protecting the weak is a noble's heavy burden. He finally agrees, but only if our boy acts as the official designated luggage carrier. The class keeps buzzing, probably placing bets on how long the weakling will last against monsters. The two head off together, followed by the usual whispers that trail a main character. She tries playing damage control, telling him not to feel bad since Nobles trains in diapers. He says it's totally fine, but then she gets curious about how long he's practiced magic. He casually drops he's only practiced for half a year, but got lucky with a teacher. She completely freezes in her tracks, looking like her brain just hit a massive 404 error. She repeats it back, trying to process the glitch. 6 months shouldn't produce a student like him. He just tilts his head, wondering why she looks like she witnessed a magic crime. She struts down the halls like she owns the place, and honestly, she basically does. He tilts his head, wondering why his new friend looks like she witnessed a magic crime. Enters Zahn, the silver-haired snob who looks ready to demand the manager. He immediately whines about a commoner like Oscar getting into their elite class. The hater calls Oscar's magic pathetic, remembering his sad little mana orb. He's totally sure our boy will just embarrass everyone sooner or later. Ruth gives him a dirty look and checks if he means Oscar. Then she drops a bomb. Oscar just learned magic 6 months ago. The snob's brain totally short-circuits trying to process that crazy fast growth. She breezes past, hinting Oscar might be looking down on him soon. She struts away, heels clicking like a total boss on a mission. Smirking, she pushes up her glasses and says field training will be fun. Meanwhile, we see the magic ranks, from total noob up to Saint Mage. Oscar tells Lily that fancy nobles are basically born with high mana levels. Reaching that rank young is huge, since they actually fight monsters. Lily is basically his biggest fan, shaking because she knows he's the real star. She's practically screaming, mind blown that he hit apprentice in just 6 months. He plays it cool, wondering if he's a genius or just well-trained. His new friend goes full chibi, freaking out over his crazy fast progress. To stop her from exploding, he asks what's up with their leader, Levin. She explains Levin's family is basically super rich magic royalty. She pictures him as a golden protector everyone runs to for safety. She asks if Oscar's family follows them, insisting Levin is actually strong. He's not buying it, thinking a noble babying him would be super annoying. Soon, the whole class gathers at the forest looking like nervous tourists. Ruth is back with an eye-patch-wearing teacher to explain the rules. The goal is simple: survive one night in a monster-filled forest. Oscar just takes mental notes, treating this like another boring chore. Ruth holds up a fancy scroll, saying team leaders get one for emergencies. Some kids relax, thinking they have an easy escape card for walls. But then the teacher gives a look that screams, she's ruining their day. Using the scroll means getting picked out, and the students totally lose it. He watches them panic, realizing losing elite status is basically death to nobles. Levin strikes a pose, bragging they'll never retreat with him in charge. He points a finger, promising to protect everyone like a total hero. But really, his version of protecting is watching everyone else do the work. He drops a backpack the size of a house right at Oscar's feet. The golden boy barks at him to carry it, treating him like a porter. Lily is horrified by the weight, but Oscar just smiles and shrugs. Levin smirks like a villain, loving that the Kamado knows his place. On the truck, the snob waves him forward, yelling not to be slow. 5 minutes in, Levin is gasping for air, while Oscar looks totally chill. Oscar carries a whole apartment without sweating, while Levin literally melts. Oscar actually offers a hand, asking if the noble baby needs help up. Levin is fuming, his pride hurting way more than his tired legs. He screams at him to shut up, hating this whole role reversal. The golden boy storms off while Oscar smiles, totally enjoying the show. Lily watches, totally baffled by how chill he is carrying half the camp. But Oscar's alarm goes off. It's way too quiet for a monster forest. The trees sparkle with mana, meaning something really bad is about to happen. Suddenly, he drops the Porter Act and shouts at Levin to stop. Levin's ego won't take orders from a commoner, so he takes a bad step. Oscar instantly feels it. They just walked right into a high-level barrier. A massive red magic circle erupts, and it's definitely not the friendly kind. The world shatters like a cheap mirror, leaving Levin and Lily totally terrified. Amid the chaos, his eyes sharpen. The servant is gone. The warrior is back. As reality breaks, he stands his ground and orders everyone to ready their stuffs. The helpful servant is finally clocking out, and the ultimate warrior is officially checking in. They land in a dark, foggy forest. This definitely wasn't on today's training schedule. Lily looks around, totally jittery. This creepy place is giving off majorly bad vibes. She spots a giant V carved into a tree. That's usually a really bad sign. They're in the 5th training ground, the upperclassmen zone. Someone definitely messed with their GPS. Everyone freaks out. This area is famous for monsters that eat freshmen for breakfast. Anadrich is totally losing it, wondering how they ended up in a literal duck trap. Oscar stays cool, guessing the teleport circle was sabotaged. Typical Magic Academy drama. Levin pulls out the emergency escape paper. For a second, he actually looks reasonable, but then he crushes it. You can literally see his bad decision-making in real time. He just rips it to shreds. The absolute audacity to destroy their only way out. The noble claims the academy just forgot an old teleport circle. He's totally gaslighting them. He calls this a golden opportunity to show off. Sir, this is an ambush. He thinks surviving this will boost his grades. His ego is doing the heavy lifting. He struts off like he's leading a parade, ignoring everyone else sweating bullets. Lily is practically vibrating with fear and begs Oscar to stay close. Smart girl. He just sighs. Stuck with the most arrogant noble in school. The things he endures. Suddenly, his internal radar goes off. They definitely aren't alone in these woods anymore. A pack of three-eyed wolves emerges, eyes glowing like they just found a buffet. One scarred wolf looks especially hungry. It's definitely not looking for belly rubs. Levin just smirks, actually happy they showed up. Talk about believing your own hype. Oscar readies his wand. He just wants to see if his new spells actually work. He's treating a life-or-death survival situation like a live experiment. Priorities, right? The noble snaps at him for getting too close. He's totally gatekeeping the combat. He tells the commoner to watch a real noble fight. Major main character syndrome here. Oscar just stares, curious if the guy's skills match his big mouth. Spoiler, probably not. The wolves don't care about social status. They just see meat. They lunge with zero chill. Levin readies his staff, eager to show off for his unimpressed audience of one. He shouts his spell, lighting up the forest floor with a massive golden magic circle. Stone pillars erupt, skewing a wolf midair. Okay, maybe he's not completely useless. He signals for Anator to step up while the monsters are stuck. Tag team time. His buddy readies his own magic circle. These two clearly practice their look cool poses. He fires off a blast of light magic as a finishing move. Very flashy. The spell sends a wolf flying. They're actually coordinating well, for a couple of snobs. Oscar notes their offense and defense roles. He's basically grading their performance in his head. But they're fighting like traditional mages, too slow and flashy. He's not impressed yet. The wolves start overwhelming them. That noble style is quickly turning into panic style. A wolf finds a gap in the stone pillars and slips through. Things are going south. Anadrix trips on a rock, leaving a wolf-sized hole in their perfect defense. Yikes. The beast ignores the boys and goes straight for Lily. She's frozen in pure terror. Levin realizes he can't protect everyone. His perfect plan is falling apart really fast. Time for Oscar to stop watching and actually do something before Lily gets eaten. Poor Lily is about to become a wolf snack. She's completely frozen in place. The wolf lunges, jaws wide open. This is definitely not the test they signed up for. But Oscar finally steps up. He casually pulls out a fire bullet like it's nothing. The wolf gets a face full of fire and is blasted back, thoroughly toasted. He stands there looking like a mysterious protector while she catches her breath. So effortless. She's totally fangirling, thanking him. He just coolly brushes it off. Classic Oscar. Meanwhile, Levin poses over the dead wolves like he did all the work. What an ego. Fast forward to a cozy campfire. At least the warmth helps them forget the creepy forest. Levin is back on his high horse, bragging about his combat skills. Someone humble him. Oscar just takes it in stride, offering a compliment that's probably 90% sarcasm. But secretly, he's thinking about the fire magic. It's more than just following a textbook. His mind goes back to basics. He wants power that can punch right through any magic. He hates training at this snail's pace. Being a veteran in a kid's body is rough. Lily interrupts his brooding, walking over with a little pep in her step. She brings him a warm mug, looking absolutely precious. The group's true emotional support. She admits feeling like a burden today. He just brushes it off like a true gentleman. He takes a chance to ask why spells weaken over distance. Always working, even on break. He's thinking back to the wolf attack and how the magic shifted. It's all about physics. Levin explains that closer spells hit harder. It's basically Magic 101 in this world. He gives that smug smirk again, probably thinking commoners are just slow. So predictably noble. A diagram shows mana returning to nature. Magic basically has a range limit like bad Wi-Fi. Lily smiles and confirms the logic. It's just how their magical world works. Oscar processes this, thinking about pouring the exact right amount of mana. It's all about efficiency. He sips his drink, brain spinning with ways to make magic more efficient. He's onto something. Lily laughs, apologizing for making the drink too strong. If only she knew what he's brewing. He gives her a soft smile. He's piecing together a theory to break the magic meta. His eyes widen as realization hits him. He's having a classic anime epiphany. I see. The classic words meaning the protagonist just figured out how to become ridiculously overpowered. Lily looks at him like he grew a second head. She's witnessing a genius at work. He thinks about the spell's vessel. What if you just reinforce the container so mana doesn't leak? It clicks. It's exactly like Sword Shi. He's using martial arts logic to revolutionize magic. But wait. A creepy guy with an eye patch is watching them through a golden scrying circle. He's spying on them like it's reality TV, standing on a very bad news magic circle. He calls Levin talented, but adds an ominous, however. Nothing good ever follows that. Eyepatch Man says he'd prefer if the kids stayed quiet. That definitely sounds like a threat. Suddenly, a massive shadowy beast looms behind him. Yeah, our freshmen are in huge trouble now. The scary guy gets a close-up as he delivers that total threat. Professor Aemon watches the screens closely, making sure no one accidentally becomes a monster snack. Meanwhile, the freshmen are huddled up, looking totally traumatized by the great outdoors. Aemon notes 20% already tapped out, which honestly sounds like a win for them. Then the vibe shifts as the iconic Professor Isabel arrives for her shift. Our queen is here, and her presence alone probably raised the forest's collective GPA. The kids in the back are literally shaking, whispering about the legendary mage like a celebrity. She checks the magic mirror to see how they're doing, probably hoping for some entertainment. She spots some first-class students putting in work, looking way more confident than the last group. One girl casually reads on a giant bear, which is the exact energy we strive for. Suddenly, she realizes Oscar and his team are missing from the feed. Not a good sign. Deep in the woods, Oscar is chilling with a hot drink, looking way too relaxed. Levin and Lily are nearby, turning their survival test into a very stressful camping trip. Oscar, though, is busy having a massive intellectual epiphany about the nature of magic. He thinks about how swordsmen compress energy inside their bodies for a max power boost. He figures if he can do that with magic, he's basically going to break the game. His deep thoughts get cut short by a scream like someone saw a car-sized spider. The other students are already in full sprint mode, screaming for everyone to run. Levin just laughs, assuming it's some low-level mob coming to get owned by his greatness. Then a literal pillar of fire erupts behind them, and suddenly, it isn't so funny anymore. Levin and Lily turn around, and the color totally drains from their faces. Behold the Stitch Dragon, a massive, golden-scaled nightmare put together with zero regard for safety. Everyone rethinks their life choices, because dragons definitely aren't on the freshman syllabus. The beast lets out a roar that probably shatters every eardrum in a 5-mile radius. Levin panics, realizing this monster is for elite hunters, and they are definitely not that. Oscar stays eerily calm, realizing someone definitely targeted them on purpose. They beg Levin for backup, but he tore up his magic paper earlier. Major fail. Lily looks ready to cry, realizing their arrogant leader just trapped them in a dragon's den. Oscar steps up and says they have no choice but to fight a literal dragon. She stares like he's lost his mind, but he insists it's their only shot at surviving. The other guys cling to Levin, begging him to use his defensive magic to save them. Levin sweats bullets, calculating his odds, and he's clearly only thinking about number one. He raises his wand, looking like he's finally going to do something useful. He chants for an earth shield, and a massive magic circle glows under his feet. Except he builds the shield just for himself, leaving his teammates completely exposed. The guys outside lose it, screaming to be let in, but Levin isn't budging. He has zero shame, deciding as long as he lives, everyone else can be dragon food. The betrayal hits like a ton of bricks as they whimper about his broken promises. Lily watches the disaster and realizes Oscar was right. There's nowhere left to run. Our girl finds her backbone, deciding that if they're going down fighting. She goes full battle mode, summoning a massive earth spear to fight back. The guys hold their breath, desperately hoping that one lucky shot actually did something. Spoiler alert, it didn't. The dragon just stands there, completely unfazed by their little rock show. The realization hits hard. They're basically throwing pebbles at a fortress with zero mana. Lily pulls a total protagonist move, telling Oscar to run while she plays dragon bait. She's absolutely terrified, but she's got more heart than the rest of the class combined. Oscar just looks at her, probably thinking her self-sacrifice plan is cute but totally unnecessary. The beast is done with introductions and charges up a move that definitely isn't friendly. The side characters officially have a meltdown, crying as they face the literal end. Fire is definitely on the menu, and the dragon is ready to serve it up hot. Instead of running away, Oscar casually steps forward, leaving Lily completely stunned. He's got his analytical eyes on, figuring out this giant lizard is just a magic vacuum. He sees straight to its glowing blue heart core, knowing exactly where to hit to end this. He pushes his hair back, dropping the weak student act to show them a real master. With his mana core glowing and quill ready, he issues a final challenge to the beast. Oscar drops a massive fireball like he's casually dropping the hottest track of the year. Our hero readies his glowing quill, challenging the monster to see who is truly top tier. It's not just a spark, it's a total magical meltdown lighting up the whole forest. He literally just deleted a high-level monster while everyone else was barely surviving. The beast hits the dirt, and our guy is just standing there like he's waiting for a bus. Lily is having a full-blown existential crisis. How did a freshman just pull that off? Meanwhile, he's clutching his arm, totally regretting that last-minute mana boost. Someone else is watching the whole thing through a scrying circle like a pay-per-view fight. Eyepatch Man is genuinely pressed his favorite pet got turned into charcoal by a commoner. He holds his breath, paranoid the kid actually caught him staring through the screen. The silver-haired hater has seen enough. The freshman is officially top of his hit list. He rants about noble blood, staring at him like a glitch that needs fixing. Back in reality, our hero is the only one standing in a crater he literally made. He's got this quiet smile going. He finally proved his crazy theory was right. Just a little celebratory fist clench because he actually pulled off the mana refinement. He's glowing like a human glow stick. His Sword Saint logic is basically a magic cheat code. The dragon is officially retired, looking very much like a totally failed science experiment. The rest of the class is having a collective identity crisis. Are they even in the same league? They stare at the wreckage, wondering how they'll ever explain this mess to their parents. One guy just clutches his broken blade, absolutely flabbergasted by the insane power gap. He's really struggling to swallow his pride now that a commoner just saved his skin. Lily finally finds her voice, asking the exact question everyone else is thinking. Our hero finally hits his limit, stumbling hard as the adrenaline totally leaves the chat. She catches him before he faceplants. He plays it cool, saying he's just winded. In reality, he feels like his entire body is going through a high-speed blender. The whole squad hovers over him now, officially making him the man of the hour. Suddenly, Lily senses something else coming. Hopefully, it's not another giant reptile. Panic over, Isabel arrives on a massive stone golem, looking ready to drop the hammer. She's all smiles, checking if her favorite group of students is still in one piece. The kids look up at her like she's a guardian angel with a heavy-duty stone upgrade. Our boy manages a relieved look, finally seeing a friendly face in all the chaos. But then the tank runs dry. He just shuts down, hitting the ground for a well-deserved nap. Isabel takes one look at the monster and realizes her weekend is now booked with paperwork. She's totally stressed out, promising some intense questioning once they get back to school. While he's out for the count, Lily and the others try their best to keep him comfy. Isabel stands on her golem, surveying the mess like the absolute boss she is. The sun finally comes up, ending what was definitely the longest night of their lives. Back at the academy, the vibe is way more somber than the usual morning gossip. Our hero wakes up in the principal's office, and it's definitely not for a congratulations ceremony. Michelis looks like he hasn't slept since the dawn of time, muttering about campus drama. Our boy is just sitting there quietly, waiting for the inevitable lecture to start. Then Michelis drops the bomb. A spy group is targeting talented commoners, and he's target number one. His eyeballs are basically sweating from the shock of having a massive magical target on his back. Michelis tries softening the blow, saying he did a solid job just staying alive. High praise. But our guy is still on his main character energy, claiming he finally found the path to strength. But the headmaster looks ready to drop the world's most depressing mixtape. The mood is ruined. He stares out the window, probably wishing he could just go back to worrying about school lunches. Watching the students live their best lives, he admits being headmaster comes with some really trash tasks. Our hero gets that, oh look, sensing the old man is about to ruin his entire week. And then he says it, pack your bags, and find a non-magical hobby to stay alive. Our hero is currently rebooting, unable to believe he has to quit the one thing he likes. Michelis is convinced ghosting the magic world is the only way to keep him safe. His brain takes a trip down memory lane. Can he really go back to being a knight? The old man really pushes the normal life agenda. Magic isn't the only thing worth living for. He preaches about not throwing away happiness, which is super ironic since he's taking it away. He thinks about the joy of learning under Isabel. He's finally doing something he actually loves. He's left speechless, trapped between a safe, boring life and his dangerous, magical dream. His inner monologue is going crazy, but if someone is hunting him, he's already 3 steps ahead. Michelis is totally into it, wondering what kind of chaos his favorite student will unleash. Our boy casually volunteers to be human bait like it is absolutely no big deal. He wants to bait the enemy out, leaving the headmaster looking completely shook by the plan. Michelis has to ask the real question. Is this guy actually trying to die today? Our boy just grins confidently, making it clear he has zero intention of becoming a snack. The old man straight up loses it, cackling at the sheer audacity of the idea. He finally catches his breath, admitting he actually respects that level of crazy determination. Michelis reaches out, looking like they're making a secret pact right in the room. Our boy smiles back, totally ready to play the most dangerous game of tag ever. But first, a reality check. The headmaster points out he probably shouldn't fight with a broken stick. He looks down and realizes his current gear is looking pretty tragic after that last fight. Yep, that thing is definitely done for, because it literally clicked right out of existence. Then we flash back to a memory in a fancy room absolutely packed with books. Our Queen Isabel pops up in the flashback, handing him a fresh tool to work with. She gives him a cheap starter pack staff, saying it will have to do for now. Our boy is being a typical guy, questioning if he even needs a magic staff. Isabel teases him, asking if he seriously plans on drawing magic circles like a total present. She really proves her point by shoving her finger right into the messy inkwell. If mana is the ink and a staff is the pen, he definitely needs a better brush. Back in the present, our boy is just staring at his broken gear with a sad sigh. Our boy is actually a little offended that the monster couldn't even keep up with him. He wonders if his magic was just a bit too spicy for that poor staff to handle. Then our girl Lily calls out to him, looking as sweet as ever. She runs up huffing and puffing, super sorry for keeping him waiting for their trip. Our boy feels bad for ruining her day, but she's just hyped to shop. Lily is super hyped and totally ready to help him track down the ultimate staff. They start hitting up the local shops, and the variety is honestly a bit much. This salesman immediately starts bragging that they have the best selection in the whole town. He flashes a flashy gem-covered staff, promising it will definitely make our boy stand out. Our boy is all business, straight up asking what these gems actually do for his magic. Lily takes one look at that massive price tag and her eyeballs are basically sweating. 1 million? Our boy is completely losing it, so that is a hard pass. Lily drags him away before they accidentally look at anything else overpriced. They try another shop, but this merchant looks ready to charge them just for breathing. Another snobby shopkeeper starts laughing, so they just decide to dip out of there. They finally locate a nice fountain to sit down and catch their breath. Our boy quickly realizes that shopping for new gear is way more exhausting than fighting monsters. Lily explains that since mages are just rich nobles, everything they own is for showing off. Our boy feels bad making her walk more, so he tells her he will keep looking alone. But Lily gets totally fired up, screaming that she is sticking with him until the bitter end. Then they stumble upon a shop with a sign that is totally his style. Oscar and the girl finally find a shop that looks like it actually sells stuffs. But before they even step inside, some random guy shows up to busgle their plans. The guy warns our curious hero that the shopkeeper is terrifying and aggressively forces sales on you, being forced to buy stuff he doesn't want. Honestly, that sounds exactly like his kind of mystery. Lily is definitely not on board, begging him to turn around before they get trapped. Our boy casually ignores the red flags, assuming open businesses must be doing something right. He steps into a dusty workshop, which is a far cry from those fancy boutiques. Lily clings to him for dear life while checking out all the rugged gear on the walls. A loud thud echoes through the room, making our boy whip around to face his uninvited guest. A massive scarred guy looks up, asking if he's dealing with a real customer or a window shopper. He is way too busy sharpening his gear to give anyone the time of day. The creepy shopkeeper tells them to go back to the shiny stores for fancy stuff. Oscar just shrugs off the insults while the poor girl looks ready to faint from the drama. The worker grips his tool tighter, looking totally annoyed by these random academy kids invading his space. He slams his staff down, shaking the whole room and demanding to know if Oscar is joking. Our boy tries to keep things chill, but this shopkeeper is already on a total warpath. Then he drops a huge bomb. He has 0 magic stats for a swordsman. Wait, did he actually see right through our boy? Oscar looks genuinely shocked at getting caught. Lily is totally losing it, begging our boy to run before things get even worse. She is absolutely terrified that they accidentally picked a fight with a master, and she is totally right. Our boy just smirks. This shopkeeper officially has his attention, and he isn't going anywhere. The scary shopkeeper is at a level 10 on the rage scale, screaming at the kids. Oscar acts totally chill, but the poor girl is literally vibrating with fear behind him. The owner isn't buying his act at all, barking that he doesn't sell swordsman tools here. Our girl is internally screaming and begging to leave, totally convinced she just walked into a lion's den. Lily wants to bolt, but our boy stops her because he's buying his next weapon here. Actually, the shopkeeper's hustle vibe just ends up making our boy way more interested. Lily is losing her mind. Why stay when the owner is literally kicking them out? Oscar just stares him down, demanding to know how the heck he even found out. The big guy just gives him a knowing look, like the answer is totally obvious. Even standing perfectly still, the old man notes his body language practically screams real warrior. It all comes down to the perfect way he balances his weight on his feet. He points out Oscar leans right, totally exposing that he secretly carries a heavy sword. I'm still learning, and can't help with that. Do you need help with anything else? Lily tries defending her friend as a mage, but her sweaty face says the jig is up. Our boy is low-key impressed that a total stranger blew his cover in 2 seconds. He finally drops the mystery act and starts explaining the actual truth about his situation. He claims his strict dad forced sword fighting on him from birth, explaining his old habits. Lily sighs with total relief after our boy saves them from getting kicked to the curb. The shop owner isn't buying it, questioning why a total sword expert wants magic tools. He shows off his current gear, proving our boy is in desperate need of a serious upgrade. He shows off his broken stuff, which honestly looks like a total toothpick right now. The shopkeeper takes one look at the wreckage and casually calls it completely useless garbage. Turns out his internal magic circuit is totally shuttered from forcing way too much mana through it. The two students are totally shook that he knows exactly how the tool broke. He drops some lore, explaining that bigger, fancier saps are built for giant mana loads. Beginner tools like the quill are just for basic practice because they're easy to hold, not durable. That is exactly why the top professors carry massive, fancy saves instead of tiny little twigs. Our boy keeps breaking the standard gear with his crazy power, wondering what'll actually fit him. The shopkeeper just scoffs, reminding him that he hasn't even agreed to sell anything yet. He casually walks away like the talk is over, leaving the pair completely clueless. Then he turns right around and challenges them to find the absolute best staff in the shop. If his choice actually impresses the guy, our boy finally gets a sweet new weapon. Our boy checks out the weapons wall, checking out gear that probably costs more than his house. Lily and the owner watch in total silence, just waiting to see if he has any actual taste. Lily's doing quick math, automatically assuming the most expensive materials will obviously win. Our boy starts browsing, completely ignoring all the shiny, jewel-covered options. Then she spots a rare piece made of legendary paganome wood, completely losing her mind. Lily's eyes are literally glowing as she realizes this one item could fund a whole year of luxury. She is mentally screaming at him to notice the fancy blue stuff and just pick the jackpot. But our hero completely ignores the fancy luxury display, focusing on something else entirely. He smirks, proudly announcing that his mind is already completely made up after seeing everything. He chooses a plain, scratched-up wooden stick, casually telling the shopkeeper this is the winner. Lily is completely bewildered, wondering what on earth is going through his head right now. She points frantically at the expensive staff, totally convinced our boy has lost his marbles. Oscar casually shuts her down, pointing out the owner wants a useful tool, not a pricey decoration. Even the scary shopkeeper is actually curious why he chose such a battered, low-rent stick. Our hero flashes a charming smile and claims he chose it because the staff felt warm. The big guy can't believe his ears, insisting it's just a worn-out piece of old wood. But our boy isn't backing down, arguing that losing your gear mid-fight is the real nightmare. A few scratches won't ruin the magic when it was clearly made with pure love. The shopkeeper just stands there in total shock, realizing he finally met someone who knows their stuff. Oscar goes for the kill, asking if the guy will finally sell that battered treasure. The owner turns away, saying he made that stuff for his son, and it's off limits. They're totally confused why a precious family heirloom is just sitting on a shop display rack. Then he drops a tragic detail. The staff's owner actually broke long before the weapon did. He looks at an old photo of his boy, casually brushing it off as just another sad story. He acts totally casual, claiming that total piece of junk shouldn't even count as a staff. The shopkeeper just walks away without saying a word, leaving the poor kid standing in the dust. Lily wants to call it a day, but our boy is determined to find his perfect match. Suddenly, the owner's voice booms from the back, demanding to know where they think they're going. Our boy gets caught completely off guard, instantly losing his signature cool guy face. The man tells them to wait while he grabs a staff actually worthy of our boy. The mood instantly flips, and now they're both cheering like they just hit the lottery. Lily finally lets out a massive sigh, admitting she was completely stressed out of her mind. Oscar apologizes, but he's secretly vibrating with excitement to see his new secret weapon. Suddenly, the door creaks open as someone arrives ready to make a total scene. Instead of the shopkeeper, a super scary guy with silver hair and an eye patch appears. It's Professor Eamon, and he looks absolutely fuming as he asks what these bastards are doing here. Our duo just stares in total shock as their peaceful shopping trip goes completely downhill. Instructor Eamon bursts in, looking like a period drama actor with silver hair and a whip. Carla is way too excited, practically beaming as she asks if he's staff shopping too. Eamon freezes like he saw a ghost, probably because he expected our hero to be dead. Rod breaks the awkward silence with a casual hi, but the vibe is totally off. Realizing he totally crashed the party, Eamon quickly pretends he has somewhere else to be. He basically speedwalks down the street, leaving everyone totally confused about why he's so stressed. Carla is totally confused, wondering if their teacher had an emergency or just hates window shopping. Rod isn't bothered at all, just calling him a restless soul before going back to work. The shopkeeper hands over a mystery bundle, dramatically calling it our boy's new legendary partner. His eyeballs are practically sweating as he reveals what is definitely not regular wood. It's a gorgeous staff with a silver blade tip that easily doubles as a spear. This beauty comes from the origin tree, which sounds like something straight out of a gacha game. This giant tree towers over the whole island, with a trunk far too stubborn to rot. Every few decades, it drops branches that make the absolute best magic staffs in the business. Tora is totally extra, screaming about how valuable it is while our boy just stares in shock. Rod confirms our girl was totally right. This unbreakable staff will never snap on her. Reality hits fast when legendary items come with legendary prices, leaving both kids ready to faint. Rod sighs, admitting he actually made this masterpiece for his son returning from war. He says it's not for sale, which usually means free in Protagonist speak, shocking our boy. The grump turns his back, grumbling that he isn't selling them anything else anyway. He says no other stuff in the shop that's our hero, so just take the memento. Oscar holds the rough wood, feeling all the heavy history behind his new weapon. Our boy bows politely in thanks, while Carla stands behind him like a proud mom. Rod just waves him off, telling him to drop the formalities and test it out already. Oscar powers up, his stock creaking like it's waking from a long nap. He focuses on finding the exact mannerism that keeps snapping every staff he touches. The wooden staff glows bright blue, drinking up his mana without even a single crack. Rod watches closely, making sure this talented kid doesn't accidentally blow up his whole workshop. Even though Oscar never held this piece of wood, it strangely feels made just for him. The grumpy shopkeeper suddenly kicks them out, hiding his caring side behind a big angry act. Oscar pauses at the door, glancing back at the guy who just handed him a priceless treasure. He casually asks if Eamon visits often, clearly trying to dig up tea on that weird instructor. The lecture hall is full of students who definitely did not do their reading today. The gossip mill is working overtime, with everyone whispering as soon as they see the survivors. The students trash-talk the training ground accident, acting like it's a miracle they survived. Rumors fly that Levin only saved himself, leaving the whole class side-eyeing him in disgust. A terrifying whip crack hits the desk, instantly shutting everyone up in a total panic. Eamon glares at the class, claiming talking during his lecture shows total disrespect. He stands up front acting all scary, while our boy stays safely in the back. Oscar connects all the weird clues, and suddenly everything is finally starting to click. He remembers Rod mentioning that Eamon was actually his son's captain on the battlefield. Eamon was right there when the kid died, making his sudden kindness look totally fake. The shopkeeper gushes about how Eamon returned to staff, basically turning him into an absolute saint. Rod looks super grateful, totally convinced he just found one of the few decent nobles left. He holds the wrapped staff tight, clinging to the last memory of his fallen son. Our girl is practically sweating from her eyes after hearing the shopkeeper's sad tragic story. Rod insists the fancy noble actually treated his commoner kid with shocking, unheard-of respect. While everyone else gets emotional, Oscar realizes this famous hero might be a complete fraud. He looks closer at the staff, noticing its beat-up shape hides a pretty complicated past. Oscar correctly guesses the kid was actually a top-tier mage who could easily rival elite nobles. The shopkeeper is totally floored that some random teenager just predicted his son's future from a stick. Back in class, Oscar stares at the speaker up front with a whole new perspective. He remembers that Eamon was actually in charge the day everything completely blew up at training. It turns out his fake mentor is actually the total snake who planned the whole attack. He clenches his fist as he realizes his worst enemy has been grading his homework this whole time. Eamon keeps playing his game, totally clueless that his target already figured out his whole plan. Lou mana surges around our boy, because he is officially done playing defense. Eamon is back at his late-night rituals in a room that seriously needs better lighting. Some glowing purple mirror entity randomly gives him a performance review, hyping up his battlefield kills. Our local trader just nods along, taking notes while secretly screaming inside. The mirror ghost gets sassy, asking if a bunch of students is tougher than an actual war zone. He denies it quickly, but the sweat on his face says he is definitely sweating the school pressure. The entity isn't buying any excuses and demands some actual military results already. The line cuts, leaving Eamon alone with his bad vibes and a cape full of secrets. He's totally miserable, probably wondering how his life turned into a complete fantasy HR nightmare. Meanwhile at the academy, the weather is way too nice for all the drama about to drop. The headmaster practically jumps out of his skin finding out Eamon caused the attack. Our boy just stands there cool as a cucumber, casually dropping total truth bombs. Michelas is totally deep in his feels, remembering the guy as some kind of brave hero. Oscar isn't buying this fake good guy act at all, completely spotting the total snake. He knows it's a bad look, but he can't just arrest people without actual receipts. Then Oscar drops a knowing smirk, meaning things are finally about to get spicy. Michelle's eyes go wide as he finally realizes this kid is way more calculating than he thought. Oscar brings up how the guy didn't hesitate to throw hands during their first training session. He bets that if they get some alone time, Eamon won't resist coming for his head. The headmaster looks like he's seriously thinking about using a kid as live bait. He checks the mission files and surprise. A very important royal is mixed up in this. Say hello to Ariel, the imperial princess who was totally supposed to be the class's VIP student. Turns out our royal girl has some pretty heavy magic baggage behind the scenes. Ruth explains that some nasty ancestral magic side effects majorly delayed the princess's first school day. So their big school mission is a field trip for a high-stakes pickup. They have to escort the princess back safely, which sounds like a total recipe for disaster. The rest of the class listens closely, though some are totally just here for extra credit. Oscar is secretly rubbing his hands together because this long trip is the perfect trap. Ruth asks for questions, probably expecting them to ask about the princess's favorite color. Instead, Zazan raises his hand, and you just know the noble bully is about to kill the vibe. He demands to know why a lowly commoner like our boy is even invited to the cool kids table. Zazan wonders if this weakling can even keep up without dragging everyone else down. He gives Oscar the ultimate side-eye, dripping with enough salty attitude to season a whole feast. Ruth doesn't hold back, announcing to everyone that our boy completely left them all in the dust. Zazan's face completely screams. Did she really just say that out loud? He tries to cope by screaming that Oscar is just a broke commoner who cannot even use magic. Our boy just sits there, thinking this guy is a truly dedicated hater. Zazan is totally losing it because literally every single boss here is an Oscar's fan club. Our boy stands right up to confront the guy, totally baffled by his fake superiority. This guy is grinding his teeth hard enough to power a whole village. Finally, the bully snaps and demands a duel to see all that hidden power. Our boy is actually shocked that someone is challenging him over a glorified school bus escort mission. Ruth facepalms at the total chaos, clearly questioning every single life choice that led her here. She sighs, knowing this drama will turn the princess's escort mission into a total dumpster fire. But she just embraces the chaos, declaring that the loser gets kicked off the mission entirely. Zazan is practically vibrating with excitement for the chance to humiliate our boy. Suddenly, the two are facing off inside the academy arena, standing inside a massive magic circle. Holding his wooden staff, Oscar wonders how his school day turned into a high-stakes duel so quickly. Zazan doesn't waste time, waving his wand to launch a flurry that is definitely no winter wonderland. Suddenly, giant ice shards pop up, pointing at Oscar like a frozen firing squad. Zazan screams at him to get ready, looking ready to turn the arena into a freezer. Our boy just stands there, looking tiny compared to the massive magical ice cubes flying at him. He grips his staff tight, knowing he can't lose if he wants to catch Aemon. His gaze goes cold, showing that behind the uniform is someone who's seen way worse than ice cubes. He levels his staff like a sword, totally ready for whatever noble-tier tantrum the guy throws. The sun is shining, and Oscar is about to show why you don't mess with the main character. A training dummy gets absolutely wrecked by ice magic, and honestly, I feel bad for it. Flashback time. Little Zazan was the total main character back then, spoiled as the golden heir. He spent his whole childhood busting training dummies, just to live up to the family hype. But let's just say a little crack isn't exactly a total shotter. Zazan was already stressing, looking like his favorite snack just got discontinued. The Gelos's family rules ice magic, but their fame comes with tons of drama. Next to his walking cheat code of a brother, Zazan felt totally outclassed. So he did what any obsessed second stringer does and worked himself to the bone. While everyone slept, he was out training, probably giving the grounds a permanent frost problem. He is desperate to beat his brother and prove he is not just a background character. Now Zazan stares down our boy like he's got something to prove to himself. He screams about family honor, which is way too much baggage for a school duel. Zazan throws a giant ice spear that belongs in a boss fight, not school. Our boy looks totally unfazed, probably wondering if he left the stove on back home. He sidesteps the huge explosion like a puddle, making her move look silly. Zazan's jaw drops at that crazy speed, so he quickly casts an even bigger spell. He summons a Mega Pagono, which sounds like fancy ice cream but is just jagged ice. It almost looks like Zazan has him as frost creeps up our boy's hand. Ice is literally encasing his arm, leaving the whole audience holding their breath. But surprise, our boy flares up his fire magic, melting that frost into steam. Zazan stands there looking like someone completely went off script. Oscar looks absolutely iconic standing in fire as the ice melts away. His eyes get super sharp, meaning the warm-up is officially over. Up in the stands, they are watching, and the gossip will be wild. He melts right through those ice shards like a hot knife through butter. Zazan keeps frantically throwing more ice, because to him, every problem looks like a nail. Professor Ruth watches closely, probably realizing our boy isn't just some regular freshman. Zazan copes by telling himself his giant mana pool still makes him superior. Our boy stays low, waiting for the perfect opening while the ice closes in. Zazan calls our boy talented for a commoner, which is so backhanded. But then he gets that look, signaling he's about to end this once and for all. He chants a massive spell, summoning a magic circle so big it needs its own zip code. Our girl is so focused on fighting, she misses her book literally glowing. Our girl looks pretty worried now, sensing the vibe in the arena just completely shifted. Even the teacher is sweating because this power surge wasn't in the lesson plan. Our boy crouches on the floor, sparking up like a charging battery. He smirks, casually apologizing for keeping everyone waiting while he got ready. Zazan looks down, wondering what kind of preparation our boy is talking about. But our boy lets him know it's finally his turn to attack. Zazan screams, too late, hoping if he yells it loud enough, it'll come true. The boss mage drops his final trap, locking our hero inside a giant ice stone. Oscar stares at the ice cage like a solved puzzle, unfazed by the sneaky attack. Zazan is doing the absolute most, swinging his wand like he's summoning a blizzard. He is totally bragging about his mana, acting like he just won a giant marathon. But our boy just stands there, treating this deadly ice trap like a fancy chandelier. He grabs a training staff, ready to show everyone a real fire blade. In a total boss move, our boy shatters the ice dome from the inside. Poor Zazan looks like his bank account hit zero after his ultimate move gets deleted. Even the professor is losing her cool, while little Ariel thinks it's a miracle. Our boy is totally in the zone, his mana finally finding the perfect rhythm. He's actually smiling now, realizing this flashy sword magic is genuinely fun. He moves like a total blur, slicing right through her defenses with one smooth strike. Zazan is panicking, realizing his defensive spells were basically made of wet paper. He hits the dirt, his knees buckling while trying to process this impossible defeat. Oscar just stands there holding his staff, ready to finish up and get snacks. Suddenly, we're back in Zazan's feelings, whining to his older brother about being a genius. His brother brushes it off like a total prodigy, pulling off the ultimate humble brag. Then he drops a total bomb. Actual monsters exist that make geniuses look like background extras. Speaking of overwhelming talent, our boy Oscar is looking like a total threat. Professor Ruth finally stops the match before the bully's ego completely shatters. She calls the match as our boy holds his staff to her throat, proving who rules the arena. Back in the dorms, someone is throwing a major tantrum at a helpless bucket. Our resident angry boy looks ready to punch a literal hole through his desk. He completely hates their petty gossip, wondering why he's stuck in this social nightmare. He's blaming everyone but himself, gritting his teeth because Oscar totally ruined his vibe. Suddenly a knock sounds at the door, and it's definitely not a midnight pizza delivery. He stomps over to see who is bothering him, looking ready to bite their head off. But the moment he cracks the door open, his tough guy act completely evaporates. Enter Professor Amon, looking super mysterious with his eye patch and a totally sinister plan. Oscar stares at the ceiling, probably wondering when the next bit of drama will hit. He remembers the academy vibes, where gossiping behind backs was basically a full-time job. He's thinking about Zazan, the silver-haired hater who totally thinks he's the main character. Look at that face, he clearly spends way too much time obsessing over Oscar's success. Zazan is literally crying because Oscar's talent easily speedran past all his hard work. He's clenching his fists so hard you'd think it owed him money. Talk about a fragile ego. He vows to beat our boy, showing crazy commitment for a one-sided rivalry. Our boy just smirks, because when you're this good, you don't even need words. Back in the present, he casually decides to deal with Amon tomorrow, right after lunch. The academy towers look pretty, but there is always major drama brewing inside. Professor Ruth starts class with a surprise mana test. Magic pop quizzes are so fun. Levin shows up late looking like a total mummy with all those suspicious bandages. He walks by radiating pure, don't talk to me energy, and she hates his timing. The students are already gossiping, wondering if he's too scared to show his face. Levin ignores the whispers, looking like he is hiding some really juicy secrets. Even our boy does a double take because those crazy bandages look totally wrong. He stares at the guy's arm, knowing that's definitely not a simple sports injury. Professor Ruth stops the gossip to start testing, though she's totally curious too. Class is finally over, and everyone is already rushing off to find their next dose of drama. Kara is totally losing it because this guy is basically using a cheat code. He's totally vibing with his staff, already wanting a newer one to look the part. Then Levin ruins the fun by crashing in with a super loud greeting. Chill out, dude. He acts all dramatic, leaving the duo wondering who invited him to the group chat. Levin looks ready to ask for something huge, and the tension is rising fast. He desperately begs our boy to train him, and hey, he's asking nicely-ish. Our boy is totally baffled why everyone treats a mere student like a legendary mentor. Levin is not playing around, basically calling Oscar a total hacker to his face. Oscar starts sweating because the vibes are suddenly getting way too uncomfortable. Next up, a secret night meeting because daylight is apparently against the rules of drama. Oscar is honestly impressed by Levin's high-effort stalking skills to reserve the spot. He demands to know the secret, telling Levin he better spill the beans right now. Levin brings up the dragon-slaying power, basically demanding to get in on the action. He wants a cheap shortcut to greatness. Convinced Oscar holds the secret map, he is basically begging for it, giving off major insecurity vibes. Oscar is totally confused since people really hate seeing others actually work hard. Levin is gritting his teeth so hard we're scared for his dental health. Now he's having a full-on moonlight meltdown, screaming about being treated like an idiot. Then things turn into pure horror as his arm mutates into a giant gray claw. Our boy is absolutely shook by this monstrous transformation, which is a total vibe killer. Levin is totally panicking, staring at his new arm like it's a terrifying stranger. Levin collapses in pain, but our boy rushes over, proving he's nice even to haters. Levin is sobbing now, realizing he was just a lab rat in a sick experiment. Levin totally loses it as purple crystals sprout like a garden from hell. He is totally losing control from the corruption, which is definitely not the power he wanted. Our boy effortlessly dodges the crystals, realizing his opponent is having a total meltdown. Levin looks like a total puppet right now, and this ugly show is hard to watch. Levin glares in denial, totally blind to being way out of his league. Oscar realizes someone is pulling the strings, and this plot is getting pretty bitter. Levin is completely broken, screaming and crying about how it is all his fault. Levin wanted to stand on his own, but he just ended up flat on his face. He sobs about wanting to protect everyone, but his noble goal was just a trap. Our boy is furious they treated a student like a lab rat. Payback time. He leaps into action with total sword Saint Grace, hunting down whoever did this. Oscar chops Levin in the neck, knocking the poor guy out cold. Our boy smoothly catches Levin and pins him straight to the floor. Oscar looks at the passed out guy, sickened by how casually he toys with lives. He's absolutely furious, and whoever is behind this is about to have a terrible night. He blames his rival Eamon for this whole mess, which is a pretty bold claim. He yells for a fight, getting dramatic movie-style crows instead. Total 10 out of 10. Instead, a creepy eye patch guy steps out, having the audacity to insult his discipline. The eye patch instructor calls our boy a commoner, but his fashion sense is the real crime. Oscar ignores the noble trash talk, staff ready because the real fight is starting. The instructor looms over him, looking ready to deliver a totally toxic performance review. With that mustache and eye patch, this silver-haired guy is totally rocking the villain look. Meanwhile, poor Levin is just lying there, starring in this total fake tragedy. The instructor keeps monologuing about a cut-short future, which is honestly just peak narcissism. He powers up, giving off major cold-blooded assassin vibes with absolutely zero chill. He calls Oscar's stance barbaric, because apparently trying to survive is just unrefined. But Oscar isn't backing down, gripping that staff like he's teaching high-stakes gym class. Suddenly, glowing red circles appear, because apparently we need demonic puppies for this murder plot. Shadow wolves attack, forcing our hero to protect Levin without getting his own ankles nipped. Mid-fight, our boy flashes back to some super important gossip from the headmaster. The headmaster already gave him a private lesson on what an absolute mess this magic is. The old guy explains these monsters are basically just magic puppets with coated bones. The pro tip here is simple. Ignore the eye patch guy and just blast his pets first. The catch? The headmaster warned that this guy is a major magic saint level threat. Back in the present, Oscar learns ignoring the caster is hard when shadow mutts dogpile you. He looks at his classmate, probably wishing he could transfer to a safer school. Our drama king Levin has a total breakdown, crying that he just wanted to protect everyone. Our boy grits his teeth, totally not ready for an emotional support moment. He tries casting a spell, but his magic circle goes kaboom right in his face. He drops to one knee, panting and definitely not feeling like a main character. The instructor just turns away, totally bored by our boy trying to act heroic. He asks why our boy bothers with Levin, but Oscar says to back off. The silver-haired killer just chuckles, points out they were never actually real friends. Then he drops some juicy gossip. Levin absolutely hates the hero's guts. Talk about a low blow, especially since the poor guy is totally passed out. Our boy freezes, and you can honestly hear the record scratch in his head. But then he asks what's so wrong with that, showing some surprisingly wholesome loyalty. The instructor looks totally annoyed that his attempt to cause drama completely failed. Our boy takes one last shot, charging his magic to make the villain pay. But the magic completely shatters, just like our boy's hopes for an easy win. He's totally shook, struggling to get even a basic formula to stabilize. The instructor struts forward, dropping major elitist shade about how talented commoners shouldn't exist. Turns out he knew the kid was special, so he brought a total magic canceling plan. Our boy stands in raining shards, looking like he just dropped his expensive phone. Then the real boss arrives, a massive, three-eyed elephant that is definitely not here for peanuts. This absolute unit is a chimera, casually vacuuming up all the mana in the area. His power gets drained away, leaving our boy as weak as a student on a Monday morning. He watches in total horror as his magic gets literally sucked right out of him. Talk about a total checkmate. Our boy realizes he walked right into a perfect trap. The instructor just laughs, looking super satisfied with himself for finally stopping their rising star. Our boy is surrounded by wolves and monsters, and the vibes are honestly terrible. The instructor gloats because his pre-programmed pets are doing all his dirty work anyway. He tries calculating his odds of survival, but the math is definitely not matching. That giant elephant monster officially cancels Oscar's life subscription. Our hero is completely alone against a bunch of hungry shadow doggos closing in. His brain goes into overdrive, wondering how top-tier mages lost to this basic setup. He grips that wooden staff, and you can basically hear the boss music starting. Suddenly, he drops the panic and takes a stance definitely not in the mage handbook. Sure, monsters are scary for normal folk, but our boy is just built different. He glares at the silver-haired assassin and his giant elephant, ready to completely flip the script. He charges forward like he suddenly remembered he's a literal sword saint. Headmaster Michelas quickly learns being the top mage just means signing endless paperwork all day. A knock interrupts his thinking, and honestly, disturbing him right now takes serious guts. The exhausted examiner brings in more paperwork, because apparently bureaucracy never sleeps. She drops the files on his desk, wondering if they're even getting paid enough for this. The headmaster sighs, insisting that protecting the princess is their absolute top priority. The students are actually trying this year, which just means more work for staff to fix. Lovin spends way too much time studying with Professor Eamon, and the vibes are totally off. Eamon looks professional on paper, but the headmaster is already smelling trouble. Michelle's looks ready to bust heads, so Eamon better have some very good answers. Oscar faces Eamon and his giant elephant, but the cocky guy feels way too confident. Eamon gloats like he won the lottery, which usually means he is about to get wrecked. Eamon uses an anti-magic field to block Oscar's spells. Talk about a total rigged game. The giant elephant is basically a walking no-magic sign, and our boy is stuck inside. He isn't panicking because he already spotted a clever loophole to use his magic. He grips his staff with that crazy look, meaning total chaos is coming. He has a plan, but it is going to hurt like crazy. Instead of running from the hungry wolf, he practically offers up his arm. He reaches out his arm like offering a treat, except Oscar is the actual bait. The wolf bites his arm brutally, but Oscar planned this. Talk about paying an arm for a win. Eamon laughs like he's the main character, totally clueless that the tables are turning. Oscar stares down the wolf as his arm gets shredded, looking unnaturally chill about it. Oscar casts fire directly inside the wolf's mouth, a total pro-gamer move. Eamon completely loses it as his prized familiar gets turned into a toasted marshmallow. He instantly roasts the wolf to ash, proving our boy is not playing around anymore. He casually explains his magic trick while standing there with a mangled, bloody arm. Eamon just got totally outplayed by a clever commoner's brutal magic trick. Eamon is in total denial, his giant ego bruising faster than Oscar's arm. Oscar literally shoved his arm into a monster's mouth, leaving Eamon completely terrified. He does not even need a staff to use magic, making him a total cheat code. Eamon is sweating bullets seeing this legendary staffless magic staring right at him. With Eamon's trump card gone, our boy is ready to officially flatten him. Eamon panics and throws up every shield, officially entering his desperate coward phase. He hides like a turtle in a magic shell, forgetting our hero brought a giant flaming hammer. Oscar charges right into the shields, making things about to get super hot for the professor. He combines both lives to unleash Fireblade, creating a razor-sharp column of flame. A huge pillar of fire blasts Eamon, making his tiny purple shields look totally useless. The Fireblade slices his shield like wet paper, giving him a fast reality check. He was bragging about magic a second ago, but now he's just on fire. A charred Eamon yells orders, desperately trying to stay relevant while his world crumbles. Oscar warns him there won't be a second time. With total cold main character energy, his precious staff is now expensive firewood, and his shocked face is priceless. Oscar points his staff at the professor's throat. Total checkmate. Oscar stands over Eamon, asking what the professor can even do without his fancy stick. Eamon throws his hands up to beg for a timeout like a total wreck. He desperate guy promises to leave Oscar alone and spill every secret he knows. Eamon even offers a promotion, acting like a desperate manager, keeping a star worker. Our boy looks at Eamon like, seriously. A cheap title won't bribe him. Oscar won't kill the professor, but only because he needs him alive to talk. Eamon is shaking with rage, utterly horrified that a commoner is judging him. He claims he tried being humble, which is hilarious since he's totally arrogant. His eyes go wild as he screams one last insult, officially losing his mind. Eamon flickers like a bad TV, turning this duel straight into nightmare fuel. Becoming a literal monster seems like a bit much for a simple workplace dispute. Eamon fuses with his giant elephant, taking getting in touch with pets way too literally. That giant elephant caught a weird magic virus, and Eamon is behind it. Purple glass flies everywhere as Eamon transforms, making a totally dramatic exit from humanity. Eamon is literally turning into a monster, like a DIY project gone horribly wrong. The professor is wrecking his body just to beat a student. Talk about pay. Eamon turns into a giant crystal monster, looking ready to eat the whole forest. The monster smashes the ground, sending giant rocks flying right at our hero. Bleeding and exhausted, Oscar realizes capturing this wild lunatic alive is going to be tough. He's totally exhausted. But hey, even a reincarnated hero needs a break eventually. Just before the beast strikes, a huge wind spell slams down like serious backup. A majestic wizard floats down like a superhero, giving our boy front row seats. The floating headmaster finally shows up, praising our boy for enduring these bullies. The magic saint steps in, so the party is officially over for Eamon. Eamon throws a massive temper tantrum, looking like a purple slime nightmare needing a dentist. The headmaster arrives like a total wingman, while our bleeding boy admires the drip. Michelle's walks in with serious authority, completely rocking that I own this place stride. The headmaster throws massive shade, mocking him for playing God with half a recipe. Oscar is sweating through his shirt because the headmaster's aura is suddenly on another level. Michelle's readies his staff, way more focused on looking cool than the actual monster. He pulls out his dramatic, shiny staff, ready to unlock Eamon's early retirement. Meanwhile, Eamon just sits there looking like a very confused pile of grape jelly. Michelle's is bringing the hammer down, and it's definitely not from a hardware store. The beast lunges, but Michelle's just floats there looking bored, waiting for his coffee order. He casts a flashy magic circle that basically screams a giant neon sign for Eamon's funeral. Those wind blades slice the monster up like a total budget salad. But this purple mush heals instantly, pulling a classic video game boss cheating move. Oscar is losing his mind over this fast healing, like watching a major plot hole. The monster tries a giant slam, throwing its purple weight around like a clumsy wrestler. Michelle spins midair to dodge the attack, keeping his hat perfectly in style. Oscar's jaw is totally on the floor, trying to process this crazy high-level magic. The headmaster leaves after images while Eamon swings blindly like an angry grape popsicle. The monster is totally lost, giving us that classic he's right behind me moment. Michelle's is just chilling in the air behind him, and the disrespect is honestly beautiful. The headmaster slices that shell like a 5-star chef filleting a very scary fish. As the adrenaline wears off, our boy is losing enough blood to see a game over screen. He's leaning on a branch, looking like his body is finally forcing an unconsented nap. His eyes are closing in slow motion. Plot twist or just a long coma. Michelle's looks like a beautiful green sun, right before you pass out from blood loss. Our boy officially has a new goal, assuming he survives the next 5 minutes. Suddenly, he is in a minimalist white void, staring at a giant glowing object. A massive, godlike white door appears, and opening it will definitely change the entire plot. He reaches for the handle, probably hoping for a buffet or some secret powers. Suddenly, a cosmic buzzkill orders him to stop, ruining his perfect little dream. He wakes up screaming from a door nightmare, probably waking up the entire infirmary. He stares at his bandaged hands in absolute shock, wondering if he is still dreaming. Professor Isabel is hovering like a worried big sister, totally relieved he is finally awake. She drops a major truth bomb. He's been asleep for a whole week in bandages. He just woke up from a coma and immediately asks about work. Someone give him a hobby. He stares at the falling leaves, getting all philosophical about his new dream. Our boy just wants to use magic, aiming straight for the magic saint level. She smiles like she is about to hand him a new magic rank. She hands him a jewelry box, and no girls, it's not an engagement ring. He opens it up, his bandaged hands shaking because he knows exactly what this means. With this glowing ring, our boy is officially a real mage now. He stares at his new status symbol while she beams with pride. Time to show off. Isabel flexes her credentials, basically acting like she owns the wizard corporate ladder. She gets serious, giving total great power, great responsibility vibes, but with more sparkles. She officially makes him a full mage, which basically means he can now get eaten by a dragon. He sits there processing his new made status, totally blaming the sweating eyes on the AC. He finally remembers his job, jumping up as much as a bandaged guy can. He smiles like a handsome hero, finding out the others saved the day while he napped. She drops some juicy gossip, hinting that the new princess is bringing total chaos. Our girl makes a superstar entrance, and we are totally here for the drama. Our boy Oscar is finally back at school, walking the halls like he didn't just survive a literal deathmatch a week ago. He's taking in the scenery, probably just happy to be somewhere that doesn't smell like monster blood for once. Kara spots him immediately, waving him over like she's trying to signal a rescue plane. She's all over him, asking if he's doing okay after hearing he fell ill, which is a nice way of saying he almost kicked the bucket. Oscar plays it cool, but being absent for a full week definitely raised some eyebrows among the students. He gives her his best nothing to see here smile while secretly relieved the school is keeping the whole Professor Eamon incident under wraps. But something is definitely off. Oscar can feel a weird tension hanging over the room. Some of the guys are suddenly acting like they're in a hair commercial, fixing their looks and trying to act all suave. It's not just them. Everyone is suddenly on their best behavior, tightening their ties and checking their reflections. Kara spills the tea, The high and mighty Ariel Veludius is about to make her grand entrance. Oscar is totally out of the loop. So Korra explains that the princess is the successor to some legendary gravity magic. Right on cue, a pair of fancy shoes starts clicking down the floorboards. Ariel walks in with the kind of hair that looks like it takes 3 hours of prep work every morning. She greets the class with a smile so perfect it's almost suspicious, immediately charming everyone in sight. Legend says her family's gravity magic was created by the first emperor himself, back when magic was basically a cheat code. We're talking about a power so heavy it could literally pin dragons to the ground and turn skyrollers into worms. Apparently, the secret recipe for this magic is royalties only, passed down through the imperial bloodline. Kara is geeking out over her history book, showing Oscar just how hyped this princess really is. Oscar is doing some mental math. He's pretty sure he should remember a Mage the Spectacular from his past life, but it doesn't ring a bell. Meanwhile, every simp in the room is tripping over themselves to carry her luggage or offer a seat. Ariel is a professional, turning them down with a polite smile that says she'll be just fine on her own. She's actually being super nice, even suggesting they all grab a bite together since they have the chance. Kara is practically swooning, calling her graceful while her eyeballs sweat from the pure elegance. Oscar is actually impressed. She's way more grounded than the usual snobby royals he's dealt with in the past. Ariel starts heading up the stairs to her seat, ignoring the rest of the fawning crowd. But then she stops dead in her tracks, her eyes locking onto our boy. She's looking right at Oscar while the rest of the class holds their breath to see what's happening. He stands up to give her a proper greeting, even though he's clearly wondering why she's singling him out. Oscar introduces himself with a smooth smile, while Kara looks like she's about to have a literal heart attack right behind him. Ariel looks genuinely surprised, like she just realized he's the guy she's been looking for. She gives him a formal introduction, officially letting him know she's Ariel Veludius. Then she drops a bombshell, asking with a bit of a blush if she could trouble him for some of his time after school. The entire class collectively loses their minds, screaming in shock while Oscar stands there like a deer in headlights. Blush forward to after school, and Oscar is standing around with his notes, looking like he's regretting some of his life choices. He finds himself in front of the women's dormitory, questioning if he's even allowed to set foot inside. The door creaks open, and at this point, he's basically committed to whatever is about to happen. Ariel is there to greet him personally, looking way too happy to be sneaking a guy into the girls' dorms. They head inside to her private room, which is predictably fancy and decorated with a very red canopy bed. Oscar is a bit on edge, asking if this is really appropriate, but she promises there are no prying eyes or ears around. He realizes this isn't just a casual chat. She's definitely got something she needs to say away from the public. Ariel's playful mask finally slips, and she looks ready to get down to business. She gets straight to the point, asking Oscar if he'd be willing to just withdraw from the magic sword exchange entirely. Oscar is staring at her like she's just grown a second head, totally blindsided by the request to just quit. He's genuinely lost, while Ariel looks just as flustered as he is by the sudden shift in the room's mood. She pulls out a shiny silver token, the proof of selection, making it all very official and very stressful. Our queen drops the real bombshell. Oscar hasn't just been invited. He's already been picked as a representative for the entire academy. Oscar takes a second to process this, his mind racing through the implications of being the center of attention again. It's the Imperial Magic Sword Exchange, a high-stakes showdown that's basically the magical Olympics of their world. This annual festival pits the best freshman majors against the top sword students to see which academy is truly elite. Oscar remembers his past life where he actually turned this down because, honestly, fighting mages of his own generation sounded like a total drag. Now he realizes Headmaster Balsamis basically trapped him into this when he tossed him that silver coin earlier. Looking at the mark on the coin, he finally understands what that simple token truly represents. Ariel isn't just asking as a friend. She's terrified of losing and thinks Oscar is the weak link in their lineup. She tries to be nice about it, saying it's not that he's bowed, but that there are others far better suited for the spotlight. Oscar finally connects the dots. This is exactly what the headmaster meant when he said he'd be useful for the school's reputation. Ariel assumes he's just as confused and annoyed as she is by the sudden appointment without any explanation. But instead of backing down, Oscar starts to get this look in his eyes that usually means someone is about to get wrecked. Our boy is actually getting hyped. His eyes are practically glowing with the thought of a real, high-level challenge. Ariel is completely stunned. She expected a long list of complaints, not a battle-hungry grin. He's already thinking ahead, wanting to see how his unique magic holds up against the best swordsman of this generation. Ariel is trying to get a word in, but Oscar is already deep in his own "how do I win this strategy" session. Plus, he's genuinely curious about that gravity magic of hers and wants to see exactly how it works in a fight. She's staring at him like he's a total maniac who just asked for a vacation in a volcano. Ariel is basically short-circuiting, screaming about how she didn't expect him to be such a battle freak. Oscar just watches her freak out, probably wondering if she always gets this dramatic when things don't go her way. She snaps back into boss mode, pointing a finger and shouting that his half-faked attitude is going to get him crushed. If he's staying in, she's going to make him suffer through a hellish training until he's actually ready to win. Meanwhile, over at the academy gates, a mysterious guy in a dark cloak has just arrived to stir things up. The unknown swordsman stares up at the building, thinking about how he never imagined he'd actually end up passing through these gates himself. The big exchange event is officially starting, and the tension is already crazy high. It's a 3v3 knockout match, bringing the ultimate academic drama. The instructor is a total buzzkill, admitting mages usually suck at close combat. But this year, they have a literal secret weapon. Princess Ariel herself. She gives a royal smile, promising to carry the whole team. Inside, Ariel is probably sweating a tiny bit under all that pressure. Zan steps in, telling everyone to move so he can solo the knights. Ariel keeps it classy, politely nodding that she can't wait. Oscar and the silver-haired snob are having an intense main character stare-down. Zan is feeling himself, bragging to our boy that he totally upgraded. Our princess looks totally exhausted by all this silly boy drama. The teacher claps his hands to shut down the drama and get to business. To prep, the reps have to spar with a total pro from outside school. His face says it all. He definitely knows who this guest is. Yep, Brian walks in, only to find out Dad is the new instructor. He casually greets our hero like they're just chilling at home. The teacher introduces him as a real sword master, making the whole room freeze. After years of begging from the school, he finally caved. Our boy wants to evaporate, but Brian is here to carry the team. He warns them to get ready, radiating pure "don't mess with me" energy. The other kids are practically vibrating from his insane intensity. Ariel starts digging for tea, asking if he's really from a swordsman family. She's doing the math on a commoner raised by living legends. Now she's side-eyeing him, wondering if he's way stronger than he looks. Brian starts class by asking what they think a swordsman even is. Zan jumps in with a total textbook answer about sword aura. The old man nods, asking how anyone is even supposed to fight that. The arrogant mage's master plan? Just stay back and spam long-range spells. The teacher likes it, but Brian isn't buying that bad logic. He tells them that's the first thing they'll unlearn, because things are getting real. If anyone lands even a single hit on him, they win the challenge. Zan backs way up, so Brian asks if he's really sure. Brian signals him to unleash his absolute strongest magic attack. Zan is feeling super cocky, wand ready to let it rip. Oscar and Ariel watch from the sidelines, waiting for the train wreck. Our queen is totally baffled, wondering if distance even matters against him. Our boy drops a reality check, whispering that she is standing way too close. The instructor screams for them to start, and the match officially begins. Zan starts casting his spell, but gets cut off before the first word. Brian is a total blur, closing in like a hungry predator. In a flash, his dad puts a sword right at his throat. Oscar isn't surprised, but Ariel is totally stunned by his insane speed. Zan is gasping for air as Brian teleports in like he's lagging the server. Dad is not playing around, showing off some insanely fast swordsman speed. Brian moves on, giving the next student an ice-cold reality check. Our boy steps up like a pro while Ariel wonders how he's so chill. The tension is so thick. This is basically family therapy academy style. Brian smirks and says it's time to test if he's been slacking. Brian looks cool, but he's a walking game over screen for these kids. They're low-key panicking because he can't even finish a spell without getting poked. The examiner raises her staff like a referee in this crazy family reunion. And they're off. The official yells go and everything instantly erupts into chaos. Brian is moving so fast our boy's eyes are working overtime. Our hero barely dodges a strike that would have instantly killed anyone else. He's gritting his teeth. Playing tag with a literal swordmaster is no joke. Oscar whips out a red magic circle to predict where that sword is landing. Oscar holds his blade at Dad's throat, calling it a mutual hit with a grin. His dad holds the sword to his neck, proud he hasn't gone soft. They're in a total stalemate, giving Major like father, like son energy. Ariel is absolutely losing it seeing him dodge a strike that fast. She realizes he's a swordsman's kid, so reading their moves is easy for him. Our queen is super impressed, and this info is going straight into her burn book. Then Brian approaches our girl, pointing out she's the only one left to spar. Ariel laughs like a delicate flower and hard passes on his offer. She puts on an act, claiming she can't control her famous power yet. Then she threatens to accidentally send him straight to the afterlife. She drops a handkerchief like a brick, and everyone totally falls for it. Except Oscar, who's giving her major side-eye right now. Crisis managed. Our girl struts off like she just won an Oscar. She sighs in relief, totally dropping the noble act after dodging that spar. She figures the ice guy is a beast who can carry the match. She's totally convinced our boy can only fight swordsmen and nothing else. Everything's going according to plan, and she's pretty sure she'll avoid a fight. If she plays smart, she wins without ever showing her true colors. She spins around like her social life just flashed before her eyes. Speak of the devil, our boy is standing right there, watching her way too closely. She tries playing it cool, hitting him with that innocent "who me" face. Our boy isn't buying her innocent princess act anymore. He's connecting the dots. He directly asks if she's faking her gravity magic, so our girl is totally busted. Our boy asks the princess if she's just been faking her gravity magic. Ariel looks like her social life just flashed right before her eyes. Our girl laughs nervously, insisting she literally just showed off her powers. As a total magic nerd, our boy calls her out for using a basic wind spear. He even brought receipts, instantly recognizing the random student's exact move. Ariel is having a mini heart attack as her cover story falls apart. Oscar explains her wind spear trick, which is honestly top-tier gaslighting. He just wants to know why a princess is running a magic scam right here. Our queen is practically vibrating, worried her royal reputation is going down the drain. Everyone's judging her, so the vibes are officially perfect for a breakdown. Oscar totally stuns her by saying he doesn't even care about the lie. He's just excited to see what real magic she can pull off. She's totally speechless because she's never seen anyone this obsessed with mana. She labels him a magic-obsessed nerd, but at least he's ignoring her secrets. She gives up hiding it because this guy notices literally everything. Even Academy experts missed her tricks, but Oscar caught on instantly. She finally admits she can't use her family's gravity magic at all. Little Ariel was already a pro at pouting when she didn't get her way. Ariel's mom was an angel, but super sick, stressing out the whole palace. Our little princess desperately learned magic just to make her mom happy. Her mom skipped the royal pressure, telling her it was totally fine. She just wanted a real smile from her daughter, not some stuffy royal legacy. For a moment, our girl was actually happy, feeling her mom's love. The happy vibes shatter right along with that flower vase. Her mom starts coughing up blood, sending the whole room into total panic. The maids panicked and screamed for a doctor as everything completely fell apart. Next thing she knows, her mom gets shipped off for fresh air therapy. Little Ariel freaked out, begging her mom not to leave her alone. Her mom stayed positive, claiming the emperor sent her somewhere quiet to rest. Our girl could tell this wasn't a trip, but a final goodbye. Her mom looked completely heartbroken at the thought of leaving her behind. She was terrified her little crybaby couldn't handle royalty alone. She wiped her tears and decided to tell the biggest lie ever just to make her mom proud. She yells that she finally mastered gravity magic, leaving her mom smiling. Her last ally drives off, leaving her alone with a huge lie. She stood all alone, trading her honesty just to give her mom peace. The huge palace felt way too giant for a kid hiding a massive secret. Word spread fast, officially making our gifted princess an absolute legend. She never actually got magic, just a lifelong acting gig. Back in the present, our girl is ugly crying on a park bench. Oscar gives her props for keeping up that lie for so long. She used every spell in the book just to recreate their family legends. Ariel politely declines his generous offer with a smile, because our girl still has her pride. She is totally shook that her perfect lie fooled everyone except him. Clutching her skirt, our queen admits she just wants to stop worrying her mother. She begs our boy to win so she doesn't have to fight. Oscar actually looks serious for once as he thinks about her desperate plea. He gives our girl false hope for a split second before ruining it. He isn't letting her off easy, forcing her to practice gravity magic before the match. Ariel is flabbergasted, wondering if he even heard her tragic backstory. Even as a kid, our boy always had that natural teacher energy. He smirks, promising he's actually a good teacher despite his chaotic ways. Now we talk magic, the power supposedly saved only for special chosen ones. A masked guy stands by the window, already planning his evil monologue. He's whining about someone totally disrespecting the sacred rules of magic. He begs a shady associate to join his team for the upcoming match. The shadow person smirks evil-like, knowing they'll get their biggest wish granted. The creepy masked guy leaves, leaving everyone with major bad vibes. A shady figure looms in the doorway as they mention an impossible power. He explains sword ki, calling it the exact opposite of magic. The creepy masked figure sets up a tournament way worse than any final exam. Meanwhile at the Sword Academy, everyone is sweating through their shirts. They're swinging wooden swords like their actual lives depend on it. Balsamies walks through, taking in all the total chaos. He checks on Isabel, looking totally shocked by her news. Our girl looks way too chill about helping the rival school. He is basically having a total breakdown over helping the enemy. She just smiles, ready to fight strong opponents no matter who they are. Balsamies wipes his forehead, just glad she's on their side. Our queen is locked in and ready to make history. Honestly, this year's reps look like total trouble. She's totally hyped that things are getting interesting. Meanwhile, Ariel shows off her sharp wind bullet skills. She shreds the targets, proving she's a real threat. She checks if her spells meet Oscar's high standards. Our boy is actually supportive, calling her technique magnificent. But now he wants to see her famous gravity magic. Annoyed by his attitude, She's ready to prove him wrong. She strikes a boss pose with her fancy staff. She explains the staff is a security system for spells. The strict secrecy around these formulas just makes him more curious. Ariel shuts her eyes, pouring all her mana into the spell. A giant magic circle glows, looking like it might actually work. But then it cracks like a dropped phone screen. Oh, it shatters into purple shards, basically breaking her heart with it. She just flops down, totally over this destined princess stuff. She tells him to give up, saying he's wasting his time. He smiles softly, saying it's only a waste if they fail. She's so confused why he's doing the absolute most for her. Meanwhile, he's deep in his feelings about living a huge lie. He remembers his own past lie and won't let her suffer. Nothing will change if they stay stuck in this failure loop. Going full tutor mode, he asks if her formula is wrong. She insists she practically tattooed the formula onto her brain. Honestly, she's been reading piles of books since she was little. Our guy goes full math nerd to figure out the problem. She's still stuck thinking success just isn't in the cards. Comparing herself to the royals, she decides she's just totally broken. He shuts down that negativity, saying there's zero chance it's impossible. With big puppy eyes, she asks if he really believes in her. He hits her with a stone-cold no, stopping her heart. He says it's just about pouring mana into formulas. He doesn't believe in people. He only believes in magic. She's basically wheezing. What kind of logic bot answer is that? She calls him a weirdo, but hey, she's smiling now. He stays cool, knowing she's actually an elite tier mage. Her talent is top-notch with zero technical flaws. Ariel is absolutely shook, cowering and screaming on the ground. He glares down, forcing her to cast or face the music. Meanwhile, bad boy Jen enjoys the dramatic show from afar. He smirks, admitting the rich brat actually has some guts. The spiky-haired guy lounges on the wall, looking super smug. He leans in with a dagger, rudely calling her a brat. Ariel is totally rattled, realizing he's from the rival academy. He introduces himself as Chad, clearly loving scaring the magic students. Ariel can't believe their luck, while Oscar just stands there unfazed. Chad gets weirdly personal, suggesting they fight right here and now. He jumps down with a crazy, caffeinated grin, ready to fight. Then the responsible teammate shows up to stop him before someone gets stabbed. Jen looks annoyed while Ariel hides behind Oscar like a human shield. The rest of the squad arrives, including a girl carrying a massive sword. The team's leader scolds him like a disappointed dad. He spins his dagger, acting like a totally exhausting bad boy. The nerdy leader pulls a total according to my calculations move. He backs down, sulking like a kid who lost his dessert. He watches them leave, wondering why swordsmen are always so dramatic. He's planning 3 steps ahead while Ariel barely remembers to breathe. The trio marches out looking like total anime final bosses. Chloe spots Ariel and gets major, "Don't I know you" vibes. Before anyone answers, a fiery red-haired boss enters the chat. Instructor Isabel strides in, scolding the boys like wandering toddlers. Oscar is actually shocked to see her here scouting. She cheerfully admits she's in charge of these sword nerds. They're just scouting the venue, making Jin look super embarrassing. Queen Isabel orders them out for some worrying, special training. Chloe gives Ariel one last long stare before leaving. But bad boy Jen lingers for one last dramatic moment. He drops the attitude, asking if our guy's actually strong. Then his fangs return, gripping his dagger with a creepy grin. He holds the blade right to our boy's unfazed face. Meanwhile, Ariel watches in the background like it's a horror movie. He literally threatens to drive a blade through his skull. His leader calls him, but the bad boy just waves. He walks away, spinning his dagger with total sassy menace. Ariel is shaking, ready to pack her bags and run. But Oscar stays cool, reminding her they still have a job. He gets that look, saying there's something he wants to try. She holds up a tiny staff, looking totally confused. It's a pen staff, basically a fancy silver toothpick. He smugly tells her to try casting with it. She gets mad, since those are for magic kindergartners. Sweating, she wonders if limiting her mana even works. He explains she has to master the small stuff first. It's basically the ultimate training wheels for mana control. He calmly asks if it isn't perfect for learning spells. She's still confused, since staffs usually get bigger and flashier. She stares at the tiny stylus, still super skeptical. Seeing her hesitate, he offers a safe space to fail. He turns away, knowing her real enemy is her mental block. She stares at the pen, weighed down by years of faking perfection. A flashback shows her crushed by books and crazy family expectations. She plays the perfect princess outside, but inside she's literally screaming. Finally, she snaps. She's completely done playing it safe. She takes a stance and yells that she has nothing to lose. He instantly feels a massive mana surge as she stops holding back. She's totally locked in, channeling crazy energy through that tiny pen. A giant purple magic circle erupts, proving he totally knew what to do. Brian shows zero mercy, lunging to end someone's career. Poor Zazan just clutches his wand, praying to survive. The instructor moves so fast he's basically a glitch. He closes the gap instantly. Magic is tough up close. Zazan throws up a total panic defense ice wall. Brian shatters it like cheap glass, totally unimpressed. He backs off with a smug grin, admitting it wasn't bad. He gives the kid the super rare most improved honor. Now Queen Ariel steps up, ready to succeed or die. He notices her shift. She finally found her main character energy. She grips Oscar's tiny pen staff, ready to show off. The purple glow means things are about to get heavy. She points the stylus like a weapon, dumping her mana. Boom. Space completely warps, leaving the boys totally floored. She stares at the tool like a rare magic artifact. Oscar walks over since she looks ready to completely malfunction. That tiny wand just unlocked a lifetime of failed potential. Her gravity magic actually worked without being a total disaster. He says to hide the formula, but she totally ignores him. She's way too busy having her massive breakthrough moment. He watches, realizing this is basically winning the lottery for her. She's a sobbing, laughing mess, but we love the drama. He smiles softly, thinking she's definitely earned a little breakdown. He kneels to support her while she finally cries it out. Later under a tree, Ariel thanks him like her personal savior. He explains her pen staff control means she'll master her big staff. She looks ahead, knowing she must be ready for the tournament. He watches her leave, feeling he did his good deed today. She's already calculating how to not embarrass herself next time. He realizes 1 week left means definitely no time for naps. Brian dismisses class, warning them that rusty gear means losing. Oscar remembers his date with Rod, his favorite grumpy blacksmith. The academy town is buzzing harder than a dramatic group chat. Out-of-town swordsmen are everywhere for the big Imperial Exchange battle. He notices some of these guys look seriously dangerous. Then he spots Chloe and her giant surfboard-sized sword. He freezes, getting crazy déjà vu from his past life. Suddenly, a desperate scream cuts through all the market chatter. A clueless little kid wandered right into the busy street. His heart drops seeing a runaway carriage barreling toward him. That horse looks possessed, charging straight at the frozen kid. Oscar instantly springs into action, his warrior instincts kicking in. He's absolutely booking it, knowing every single second counts. A hooded blonde girl yells for someone to stop it. He ditches his low-profile act, conjuring magic mid-sprint. He steps in front and drops a giant flame wall. The horse isn't just spooked. Its eyes are glowing orange. The fire scares the beast, stopping it from crushing him. Chloe jumps in and wrestles the reins like a pro. Crisis averted. Mom grabs him while they catch their breath. She blames the harness, but he's staring at her giant sword. He looks spooked. That specific weapon looks way too familiar. She catches him staring and demands to know why. She wonders if this magic nerd secretly loves swords. Spot on. She eyes his uniform while he has a total internal meltdown. It finally clicks. He actually knew her in his past life. He knew her when he was the Sword Saint. So awkward. Later, he's back at the academy, absolutely destroying a training dummy. He stops to breathe, secretly hating every second of this workout. Suddenly, a girl pops up and asks if he likes swords. She just stands there, totally ready to judge his answer. She admits she's curious since he practices literally every day. He drops the act and admits he actually hates swords. Realizing that was way too blunt, he immediately starts apologizing. But she just gives a knowing look and completely agrees. Oscar is floored. He finally found a fellow sword hater. She introduces herself as Chloe, offering a super relieved handshake. This sparks a weirdly deep bond with the future top student. Flash forward, she's on a white horse, rehashing their favorite topic. Back then, he used swords to distract from his magic obsession. Hearing her admit she hated the blade really hit different. Spotting his magic uniform, she puts 2 and 2 together. He flashes a cheeky smile, confirming he is a magic guy. She genuinely laughs, looking like she finally found her people. Admitting she hates her job is basically her best therapy. He senses of but coming and is ready for gossip. He asks if she secretly likes magic more than swords. Her face drops, looking totally exposed on the group chat. She admits her real dream was actually to be a mage. He feels the tragic backstory energy as she prepares to spell. Monsters raided her village, forcing her to grab a sword. Cue the flashback to tiny Chloe in a literal disaster zone. She's running through the flames, screaming for her parents. The local knights are getting absolutely wrecked by these beasts. They're tearing through the village like it's a personal playground. Amidst the fire, she realizes nobody is coming to save them. A massive beast blocks her only hope of escape. In a total do-or-die moment, she grabs a discarded sword. Fighting a giant beast is honestly iconic toddler behavior. Suddenly, her hidden talent explodes, proving she's a natural-born slayer. Back in the present, Chloe's exhausted. She never wanted this. Oscar watches her, realizing that insane talent is basically a curse. She didn't choose the sword life. She just survived a nightmare. His reaction shocks her. Everyone else just calls her super lucky. She complains people just see a genius and ignore her trauma. Our boy realizes she perfectly mirrors his own internal struggles. She formally introduces herself, like they're finally meeting for real. He smiles and gives his name, finally finding someone who understands. His past self would have advice, but now he's just speechless. He stares at his weapon, amazed he gets to redo life. Chloe heads to her inn, and he casually waves goodbye. He watches her go, knowing she secretly hates being a knight. He just stands there, her heavy secret lingering like bad cologne. He wants to help, but sword and magic just don't mix. But our boy isn't normal. He knows something most people don't. He's mastered both, basically making him a walking cheat code. His double life experience makes him wonder about finding a loophole. Fast forward to the big tournament, and he's totally spacing out. Zan snaps him back, asking why he looks so clueless. He tells him to quit daydreaming and watch the actual battle. The silver-haired guy brags he'll win before Oscar even stands up. Oscar touches his badge, realizing he's been totally spacing out lately. He apologizes as his teammate walks off, ready to throw hands. Our boy decides to log in and actually watch the big tournament. Welcome to the Coliseum. The arena hype is absolutely electric. Spectators flood in, and someone's definitely in trouble for being late. Down below, some mages are already predicting a total loss. One guy whines that solo duels for mages are totally unfair. Try casting while a swordsman turns you into a human pincushion. Here, swordsmen are absolute menaces. It's a terrible day for mages. They've been stuck in an embarrassing losing streak for years. Plus, the Empire's genius has a sword bigger than their futures. Meanwhile, Instructor Ruth stress briefs the squad on their vanguard duties, while our guy just stands there, thinking this sounds like way too much work. The instructor admits the first fighter is basically a human crash test dummy. One looks totally bored, while the other sees her life flash by. Getting folded is basically part of the Vanguard's job description. Then Ruth gets a wild look, ready to shout her plan. She hypes up Princess Ariel as their secret weapon for gravity magic. Meanwhile, the princess is internally screaming while the guys just watch. He saw her practice, and her magic was a wet noodle. So she's going into battle with 0 powers. Absolute yikes. Before her hype speech finishes, Zan asks to pick the order. She actually stops talking and tells everyone to agree on a plan. She walks away, leaving the room so tense it could power a whole city. The plan works for a monster, but she's just a terrified marshmallow. Sending her out first is basically throwing her to the wolves. So he puts on a serious face, ready for a game-changing plan. Zan steps up to take the hit for everyone. Ariel and our boy are totally blindsided, jaws hitting the floor. Oscar actually worries for once, asking if he's really ready. But the noble stays firm, totally ignoring the instructor's bad idea. Leaning in, he drops a massive bomb. She can't use gravity magic. She looks like she just saw a ghost, completely exposed. He admits he's known for a while, just being super observant. Turns out he watched her fail like a low-key, golden-hearted stalker. She immediately starts apologizing, eyeballs sweating from pure guilt. He shuts that down fast though, saying she shouldn't be sorry. She's so confused, since people aren't usually this chill about frauds. Flashing in "I've been there" look, he mentions everyone has secrets. After all, he knows all about grinding for the crazy true power. Suddenly, he announces their whole game plan is changing right now. The princess looks massively relieved. She's officially his biggest fan. He tells our boy they'll win as a duo to protect her, and asks if the tall guy understands, finally breaking the tension. Our boy instantly agrees, totally ready to make this pact. He leans hard into the romance, promising they'll carry the team. But Zazan stares at him awkwardly. The guy is officially allergic to fun. They both high-five and get in the zone for the main event. The announcer hypes the crowd for the first big match. The opponent steps up, losing the confidence of someone about to get humbled. Jin immediately starts acting like a total menace, laughing. The Ice Prince doesn't even blink at the trash talk. He just dares the guy to try and beat him. The bully just smirks, clearly about to be a problem. He completely skips the starting bell for a dirty ambush. The crowd totally gasps at the insanely cheap move, but his blade smashes right into a literal ice wall. Instead of raging, the menace just smirks, enjoying the challenge. Zan just summons a massive, physics-breaking magic circle. The arena is packed and electric for the big first match. The hyped announcer officially signals the chaos to begin. The red swordsman lunges instantly, totally thirsty for blood. Zazan looks shocked, but refuses to ruin his hair. He summons ice spikes, turning the floor into a freezer. The swordsman just laughs, pulling out his carving daggers. He slices through the ice like it's literal butter. But the magic nerd manifests a massive, intricate circle. The guy leaps, not realizing he's jumping into a trap. A giant snowflake catches him, and he instantly regrets everything. Zazan casts a spell, sealing him in an ice prison. Boom. He's encased, looking like a very angry popsicle. The crowd eats it up, loving the high-class drama. Sideline students wonder how anyone could break that frozen mana. The ice nerd stands there, looking way too confident. But a nasty crack ruins his smug little moment. Purple energy suddenly explodes, shattering the ice into tiny pieces. He steps out, cackling that he's just getting warmed up. He unleashes his aura, looking like a total final boss. Everyone is completely shocked that he just shattered high-tier magic using pure strength. Meanwhile, Queen Ariel is panicking, convinced one hit from that monster means game over. Ruth plays it cool, promising their medics can fix anything. Honestly, Ruth just means they gotta beat him to a pulp. Ariel stresses, but Oscar watches like it's a boring documentary. The swordsman's crazy speed makes Suzanne's ice magic look slow. Ruth warns that ice magic drains mana way too fast. The guy closes in. Suzanne is about to get wrecked. Ariel is practically vibrating with pure anxiety for her teammate. She demands to know why Oscar looks so completely chill. Oscar just hits her with that calm, handsome, fix-everything look. He simply can't imagine Suzanne actually losing this fight. Meanwhile, Suzanne stares down the swordsman crouching in the ice. Suzanne realizes the guy punched straight through his icy defenses. The swordsman just stands there flexing his glowing daggers proudly. Suzanne admits this whole sword chi thing is surprisingly versatile. The swordsman mocks him, bragging that fancy magic won't work. He gets in Suzanne's face, promising to slice everyone up. Suzanne doesn't flinch, roasting the guy for his unearned confidence. The swordsman preps his next move, his face turning super dark. He totally kills the vibe, asking if Suzanne ever drank mud. Suzanne is legit confused by this sudden tragic backstory dump. The swordsman charges forward, completely fueled by intense childhood trauma. He leans into his monologue, asking if Suzanne ever struggled. He flies like a wrecking ball, thinking his muddy past makes him invincible. Suzanne doesn't just stand there. He whips out a fancy magic circle. The guy keeps screaming that rich kids have it way too easy. We see his childhood, where he literally thought starvation was the best teacher. He's got that tragic hero look, fully believing no spoiled brat can beat him. Our boy just takes the verbal abuse while ice shards rain like pointy confetti. He chews on that comment, looking totally over the whole rich kid stereotype. He admits he never starved, but he's about to drop a massive reality check. See, in his family, if you aren't a magical prodigy, you're basically considered garbage. He spent nights buried in scrolls, eyeballs sweating from all that toxic family pressure. Turns out, being a noble without talent just makes you a fancy permanent disappointment. So yeah, he's got his own hunger, and it's for enough power to actually belong. The swordsman keeps hopping around like a feral cat, ignoring the deep monologue. He goes for a big slash, expecting the noble to fold like a cheap chair. But the ice doesn't break, and the guy finally starts to sweat. Suddenly, giant crystals erupt everywhere, turning the arena into a literal winter wonderland. Our swordsman friend has a total panic moment as the ice pins him down. Suzanne just stands there like a chilly king, completely unbothered by the frozen chaos. He touches his scar, revealing he actually saved this secret move for Oscar. His past defeat became a huge power-up, leaving the swordsman looking like a confused popsicle. He walks away, serving up the ultimate icy cold shoulder. Meanwhile, prisoner Eamon is living his worst life on a dirty dungeon floor. He groans miserably, looking completely wrapped up in medical tape. A spooky voice points out he's finally awake from his forced nap. Eamon panics as a massive shadow looms over his cell. It's the Magic Saint, looking totally iconic in his starry robes. He actually skipped the tournament just to watch him sleep. Creepy. The prisoner tries to stay sassy, sarcastically thanking him for the hospitality. But the saint isn't joking, demanding to know who's really in charge. Eamon just gives a cheeky look, wondering if he should even help. Suddenly, a super spooky dark aura flares up behind the prisoner. The headmaster drops the nice act, threatening to force him to talk. Before he can, a glowing purple silencing curse snaps onto Eamon's neck. The guy starts choking and screaming, totally shocking the headmaster. The saint realizes someone is literally silencing his witness in real time. He quickly blasts some magic, desperately trying to save the situation. He throws up a green magic barrier to counter the deadly curse. Eamon fights for air, wide-eyed as he realizes he's been totally betrayed. He gasps that it was nice of the saint to watch him die. With his dying breath, he drops a bombshell. Oscar is totally doomed. Just like that, he dies, leaving the saint staring at a corpse. The headmaster repeats the warning, realizing the stakes are insanely high now. Cut to our silver-haired king, looking totally moody despite winning. Their teacher is in full hype woman mode, literally vibrating with excitement. She yells about their first win in years. Honestly, we love the energy. She's literally on fire, shouting that their academy is finally back on top. Suzanne just side-eyes her while she continues her crazy theatrical celebration. Oscar walks up smiling, saying he's genuinely impressed with that performance. The moody mage just huffs, claiming his teammates' praise means absolutely nothing. He tells Oscar to go get some exercise instead of just standing around. Oscar just stands there, totally confused by the sudden ice-cold sass. The prodigy walks off, clearly totally finished with this social interaction. Ariel leans in, whispering to ask what that crazy magic even was. He admits it was a secret move made specifically to beat Oscar. Flashback to the match where that guy got completely encased in ice. Ariel is shook, realizing he's basically plotting to take down their leader. He explains it was designed to totally kill Oscar's insane speed. But he didn't expect to waste it on a random swordsman first. He realizes Oscar's fighting style is basically more swordsman than mage anyway. The teacher pops back in, loudly cutting off their serious moment. She's back to being chaotic, convinced Zan can just sweep everyone alone. The team just watches, accepting that their teacher is a total wildcard. Suddenly, Isabel enters, looking super smug and ready for drama. She stands in the doorway, getting grilled about whose side she's on. The red-headed queen just smiles, clearly only here for the entertainment. She notes his magic is a nightmare for swordsmen, totally stirring the pot. Then she drops a teaser about someone interesting at the Swordsmanship Academy. Meanwhile, Oscar is wandering the halls, processing all that mid-tier shade. He's thinking about Zizan's words, realizing he actually needs physical training. Our hero decides to find a quiet spot to shake off the stiffness. Suddenly, he runs into a blonde girl with an absolutely massive sword. They pass in silence, but the tension is insanely thick. Oscar pauses, sensing something is totally off about this mystery girl. He looks back, feeling a vibe that's definitely not typical student energy. He wonders if that's Chloe, the swordsman everyone keeps whispering about. He watches her walk away, carrying that huge wrapped broadsword. Oscar decides to be friendly, asking about the tournament match. Chloe stops and looks back, her eyes glowing with intense rage. She snaps that it's none of his business, leaving him totally shook. She walks off, claiming a mage wouldn't understand a real tournament anyway. Oscar just stands there, wondering if she really hates him that much. But as she disappears, her face darkens into pure, scary menace. His instincts scream that this wasn't just a simple bad mood. He grabs her by the wrist, ready to confront her. She is confused but also taken by surprise. Oscar asks her about her killing intent. Why does she feel like a master assassin? And that's where the story is currently at. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the recap, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, because I'll be posting new chapters as soon as they come out. See you in the next one.